at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Hey, what's up? Here we go. I'm Matt. Live with you on this Wednesday, Hump Day. Hump Day! What you looking for, Annie? What you need? A what? Here, take this and bring it back to me. The homecoming queen just came in the studio looking for wire cutters. And I'm telling you, her timing is absolutely impeccable. The only thing is I wasn't quick enough with this new live stream setup is to just reach over here and click the overhead cam where you could have seen her arm reach into the shot and take my multi-tool from me. And then maybe she'll bring it back. I hope she brings it back because I have a box. You know, it's Christmas time. I have a box that I want to open live on the air, a live unboxing on the radio, a package that I got from Tim, the pro out at the Mississippi State University golf course. We're going to see what's in the package if she'll bring my knife back. So what's up, everybody? Here we are. In a world where people involved with college football try way too hard to complicate everything. This time it's the Big Ten. It's Ohio State. Folks, it's happening. We are changing the rules midstream, really at the end of the stream. We've had a boat race down this certain waterway for months now, and just before the finish line, we are changing all the rules because we want one team to be in. Ooh. Listen, folks, listen. If things were not crystal clear before, they ought to be crystal clear now. And I got a head full of thoughts on that, and I'm going to spit them all out on the radio with you here today. So thanks for tuning in. There's a long way to go and a short time to get there. Jerry Reed, eastbound and down. I'm in the Farm Bureau studio, Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau. I just thought of something. The homecoming queen just took my multi-tool from me because she said wire cutters. So I guarantee you, she's down there right now with my multi-tool, probably trying to use the knife to cut some piece of wire and going to dull the you-know-what out of that knife blade on my $75 multi-tool that I've hung on to for 3 or 4 years. Okay, welcome to dad life. Husband world, welcome. There you go. There's a stream of consciousness thought. Y'all text me on the Country Pleasin' text line. Country Pleasin' sausage. Had it again for breakfast. 885-ESPN, 601 number, 885-ESPN. Text away. I'd love to hear from you today on the text line. If you need the number itself, it's 885-3776. Call me on the Davini phone. Bill and I were talking before the show how yesterday we had like a couple of phone calls here and there throughout the whole show, and then right at the end, the phone lines just lit up and stacked up. Now, I don't know if that's because finally it took us 3 hours to get to something interesting. Maybe. Or if it was just people already getting on the phone line ready for Jake's show, and I just happened to catch him at the end of my show. I don't know what it was. But, yeah, it was all kind of back-ended there on the phone calls. But go ahead and call me now. Whatever you want to talk about is fine with me on this hump day. The Davini phone, 995-1059. 601-995-1059. Speaking of Davini, we're going to talk with Jonathan McMillan from Davini coming up later in this hour. He and I are going to talk a little deer hunting, but specifically kind of a competition that we're going to have going where you can win prizes. If you kill a big buck, you take it in there and get it scored, and if you're in the top 2 or 3, you're going to win some stuff at the end of the deer season. So we'll tell you all about that coming up at the end of the hour. And then, hey to everybody on the live stream. Feel free to comment. Yeah, new live stream setup, a couple different cameras, new commercials, all this kind of stuff. It's just, making a little bit of a step up. And really and truly, it's very easy to use. I think it's actually easier and more hands-free to use than it used to be. So I hope you're enjoying the live stream there here in the Farm Bureau Insurance studio. A couple different cameras for you. Caleb says, what? We got 2 cameras now? Yeah, well, technically, one camera and one phone, Caleb, technically. JB, I'll tell you this. JB says, last day, I'll see you tomorrow. JB's going to be back tomorrow. JB, it'll be just in time for my birthday. I'll turn a right round 44 years old tomorrow, and you'll be back. It'll be a great birthday present for me, JB. Although I'll miss Bill, I've really enjoyed getting to even just a little bit of chit-chat off the air and things with Bill, who's filled in really nicely. Appreciate him doing that. Sven's in here early on YouTube, says, hey, guys. What's up with you, Dorothy? Thanks for saying hello. The Taylor Bradley Show, hanging out with us here today to start the show as well. A couple things from JB, and I'll get to you guys. All right, so let me make sure I don't delay any further. It's happening. Here it is. It's all over Twitter. It happened about half an hour before we came on the air. The Big Ten is expected to change its policy that teams must play 6 games to be eligible for the conference championship. This would likely pave the way for Ohio State to face Northwestern pending approval in the league, according to sources today at ESPN. Yeah, I mean, others reporting it. Dennis Dodd over at CBS, his tweet confirming multiple reports. Big Ten is expected to formally rescind the 6-game requirement for Ohio State to play in the championship game. Brett McMurphy reported last week athletics directors likely to change the rule. They're changing the rule. Why? Here's what I want to know from y'all. And, I know you have a million different thoughts and everything, but let's streamline it here. Y'all answer a question for me. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. This is not a right, wrong answer. I want to know what you think on this. They are changing the rule here at the end of the season, rescinding the 6-game requirement in the Big Ten for this year, this special year, for a team to go into their championship game. They're going to rescind it for Ohio State. Dennis Dodd, he worded it correctly. It's for Ohio State. My question for you is, why are they doing that? Why? What answers, if you try to really dial it down and nail it, the reason or the exact reasons, why are they doing this? Why are they rescinding this rule so that a 5-win team, they've only played 5 games, they're 5-0, a 5-0 team. The rule was you had to play 6. We're going to lift the rule so this 5-0 Ohio State can get in the championship game. Why? What's the answer to that? Nick, I have a feeling that you are right in line with everybody else in this country who follows college football, or at least does at this point. Nick on the Country Pleasing text line at 885 ESPN says, I hope Northwestern rolls them by 3 touchdowns. Jamie on the live stream says, why? He says, money. And if I were to take it a step further, Jamie, money for who? Money for, not for the players, theoretically. You're right. Money. Money for who? Okay, let's answer the questions. One thing I like about this show is, and this setup, I'm not, I don't have a connection. I can't pick up my iPhone from C Spire and dial up the commissioner of the Big Ten or Kirk Herbstreit and say, hey, talk to me off the record. What are you hearing? I don't have those kind of connections completely. Not to that part of the world anyway. But you and me, you as somebody who comes and participates on the show, and you talk to me and I talk to you as a participant here on the show, for you, me as the host, we have a good setup here. Okay, and don't let me go too far down this road, but just understand what I'm saying is I'm not tied and employed by a big entity. This is just me, okay? I make a living with this, and we have sponsors here who are proud to be a part of this show and support it because y'all come and listen every day and y'all participate in all the content and that kind of thing, okay? So I'm not going to go sit down and answer to a boss who is really tightly woven with the big commissioners and the big conference and the big TV partner. This is just me and you, okay? So we can just be as pragmatic about all this as we want to. Jamie, you're right. It's about money. But money for who? Why are they doing this? Louvier on the Country Pleasing text line. All teams are created equal by the rules. Some teams are more equal than others. Louvier, yeah, it's a little mysterious, but a truer text has never been sent to this show. Johnny Reb, you are asking another good question. Why have a rule at all? It's not really a rule, is it, Johnny Reb? If it's a rule that you put in place at the beginning of the year that is for the level playing field and best for the conference as a whole, but then you just totally go against it, just totally throw it out when it's convenient for you and for one particular school, for their benefit. Right? It's not really a rule. It's as wishy-washy as it gets. White Denzel, the answer is money. Money for the Big Ten if Ohio State is in the college football playoff. Now, let me ask you another question. This would be if we want to go down chasing a rabbit later, and we might do this, but I'm just bringing it up almost for hypothetical purposes. Television money, eyeballs. Honestly, be honest. Will more people watch Ohio State versus Clemson in the college football playoff than Ohio State versus Coastal Carolina? I'm sorry, Clemson versus Coastal Carolina. Would more people watch Ohio State versus Notre Dame than Notre Dame versus Texas A&M? So you might think the answer would be obvious, but it's not. Listen, if Coastal Carolina were in the playoff and playing Clemson or playing Notre Dame, that would have, at least for the first quarter of that ballgame, there would be more people interested in talking about and tuning into that than they will Ohio State versus one of those. I promise you. The TV partners know that too. So it's not so much about TV in this case, which is what's crazy about all of this. It's strictly about money for the Big Ten. That's what this is about. Rebel Rex, Country Pleasing text line. The Big Ten is doing that because they looked like idiots for canceling the season when everybody else is playing games. Then they buckle and decide to play their games a month late, and now they're just saving face for Ohio State's benefit. It's garbage. That's from Rebel Rex. Another example of a truer text has never been sent. Here we go. Ready Teddy has taken it a step further and he is doing the research for us. See, this is what's so great about this show. I'm not a crackpot researcher, but a bunch of y'all are. My man Teddy has just pulled it up on his phone here, circled it for me so that I can read it in plain English right off the College Football Playoff website at collegefootballplayoff.com. Bullet point number 3. A conference will receive $6 million for each team that is selected for the semifinal games. $6 million. There will be no additional distribution to conferences whose teams qualify for the national championship game. A conference will receive $4 million for each team that plays in a non-playoff bowl under the arrangement. It's a difference in $6 million to the Big Ten in a year where they didn't have a ton of games and started late. Made a poor decision. Maybe not so much poor as it was hasty. The hastiness is what made it a poor decision. You know, they eventually played. Thank you, Teddy. Unnamed texter says they probably had another mass mail-in vote. So it was somebody said the guy from Weekend at Bernie's voted in the election this year. Surprise, surprise. War Eagle Rich says when a team gets in the playoffs, each school in that conference gets $7 million. Yeah, Rich, it's $6 million, but close enough. You're knocking on the window right there of the reason. All right, let's do something real quick. These are some talking heads, two of whom played quarterback at Ohio State. One is Kirk Herbstreit. The other is Cardale Jones. They were on ESPN yesterday. One a surprise, one not. So I want you to listen to the language. This is yesterday and last night. Listen to the language. Two former OSU QBs. What do you hear in this? Okay, let's start it off with Cardale Jones, who says that college football needs Ohio State in the playoff.
When I think about the college football playoff, man, I think about the top dogs. I think about the best teams. And I think about who's going to be the biggest draw, who's going to bring in the most amount of money. Ohio State is definitely in that conversation. It's going to suck to see.
Who's going to bring in the most amount of money?
That they only potentially get in with 5 games over a potential one-loss Indiana team or things like that. But at this point, man, it's all about trying to recoup some of that money. The Big Ten and college football has lost from delaying the season and COVID and canceling games all year round. So if you don't have Ohio State in that conversation, that top 4, that's a lot more money you're going to lose than you already lost.
Money, 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 money. Everybody knows it. It's what it's about. To heck with you, Coastal Carolina. Get out of here, Cincinnati. Not in our ballpark. You're not in our league. You are not in our league, Cincinnati. Coastal Carolina, you're not. Now, Kirk Herbstreit, on the other hand, he pointed out one potential snafu in all this. He's exactly right.
This is about what happens in the conference championship games. If Ohio State's sitting there, if they go to Indianapolis and they win and they're 6-0 and they put on a Big Ten championship crown and they're Big Ten champs, I don't care if they played 5 games, 6 games. If they're crowned Big Ten champs, what happens in Charlotte, what happens in Atlanta is going to dictate where Ohio State is. If Alabama beats Florida, Ohio State would be in. Ohio State fans should be the big Alabama fans going, because if Alabama knocks Florida out, I'm just telling you, if Alabama knocks Florida out, Ohio State is in the 4. If Florida beats Alabama and Clemson beats Notre Dame, Ohio State will be left out. It'll be Clemson, Notre Dame, Florida, and Alabama. Ohio State's out. So Ohio State fans need to pull for Alabama and win out. And if they do that, I think they're one of the 4 teams.
So, he is. If Florida beats Alabama in the championship game, then Alabama and Florida are going to the college football playoff. And Ohio State's left out, even if they are 6-0 after beating Northwestern in the conference championship game. He also says, you got Notre Dame and Clemson over here playing each other. If Clemson, he says, wins, right? He said Clemson wins and knocks off Notre Dame. Is that right? Who else? What was the other one he said pull for? All I know is that Florida could throw a wrench in this thing if they were to go and beat Alabama in the championship game. And I think he's right about that. I do think he's right about that. Okay, so we get it. I think you and I are on the same page. We get it. We understand what's going on here. This is not about an open competition where everybody on this playing on this level, everybody has a chance to go chase this championship. That's just not what this is. If you are outside of the Power 5, you do not have a shot at this. You don't have a shot at it. Okay. Group of 5 teams. We're talking AAC. I know they tried to make it into a Power 6 and tried to brand that language a couple of years ago. It's not happening. Anybody outside the Power 5, you don't have a shot at the college football playoff. It's not happening. It never will. Because ultimately, it's not just about getting the 4 best teams in there. not even really so much about getting the 4 most deserving teams in there. That's not what it is. That's the wrong language. It's not what it is. Like I told you yesterday, this pandemic, all in the world it has done is shown a bright spotlight on the problems in this sport. That's all it's done. And this is the latest, greatest, best, most clear example. What this is, who in the Power 5 are the 4 best options to rake in all the dough. It's a balancing act. There are some that we simply would never be able to say no. You can't tell, let's just say, certain brands in this sport, Bama, Ohio State, good examples, Clemson. If they're in a position, there's no way you'd ever keep them out, right? But who else? What are the 4 teams that we can make sure that we find a way for them to have the best chance to be in a playoff so that all the conferences in the Power 5 rake in the cash? And you go, well, Matt, what about the Pac-12? They're not in it? No, they're not. But you let USC go undefeated. They'll figure out a way. Sure they will. If they can pull any eyeballs, right? They'll figure out a way. But I still think we call it the Power 5. It's really the Power 4. Say what you want. I mean, the Pac-12 out there on the West Coast, they're kind of doing their own thing. I mean, they're the oddball anyway. The way they operate, the embarrassing stuff that's come out of their conference offices, the way they try to manipulate officiating. It's really like the other 4 conferences have gone, y'all just stay over there, we're good. It's really like the Power 4 anyway. Is what's going on in the Big Ten unfair? Yes. It is wholly unfair. Is it surprising? Sadly, no. Not surprising. Another thought or two on that coming up. We'll get some more of your texts also. Just getting started with you on this Wednesday. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Stick around. Trust me on this, you will sleep better on a mattress from Nest and Wild. It's 100% American made, from top to bottom, all the way to the floor. It's a great Mississippi company. It's right here at home. I know the people. Every mattress they make is 12 inches thick, and if you order it, it'll show up in your doorstep in 5 days. So if you're like me and sometimes you procrastinate on Christmas gifts, you can wait right up until the last minute. All right, I'm not suggesting that, but you could do it. And if you use Bully20, BULLY20, you also get a free pillow top mattress cover to go with it. So it's a great deal. Use that code. Go to nestandwild.com, order your mattress, get it here in time for Christmas. Winsipedia.com. Winsipedia.com. Wins, the letter I, pedia.com. Winsipedia.com. If you're a football fan, if you keep up with games, you have a favorite team who's playing somebody new this weekend, certainly if you're a person that's in media, like me, you're in radio or maybe you write, this is an incredible website that's a resource for any historical matchup. You can compare any 2 teams, just put them in there, no matter who they are in Division I football. It'll give you the entire series history. It'll give it to you visually in a graph. You can click on individual matchups. You can look at the whole list. You can even get information, historical information on just one team, but Winsipedia, it's a great historical matchup resource for college football. Check it out.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. If you head with me over to cspire.com, over to their website, this is something you can do. And I noticed this today. before I went and logged in. I was going to pay my bill. And it says at the top, deals you can believe in. You click that shop deals, and it takes you over here to a couple of things that you need to know about here for the holiday season. First of all, they're doing a trade-in right now. So like I can take my old iPhone 8 Plus and trade this in for an iPhone 12. The other thing is, I wanted to show you this. First of all, I love the ad with the bull and the Santa hat, but the no bull deal, you probably heard about that on our show. No gotchas and hidden in the fine print in the bill. No most expensive plan requirements. No waiting 3 months to get your promo credit. No having to, bring a phone number with you, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you from experience, I go here, my bill's the same every month. There's not a lot of hidden stuff. My cost doesn't go up. Once I'm in. I know what it costs every month. You get all of that stuff. And I just wanted to make you aware. Just go to cspire.com. You can see all of it. Merry Christmas.
Sports talk. I'm talking way back. It's the Matt Wyatt Show on 105.9 The Zone.
All right, back with you. Rolling along here on this hump day, really just getting started. This is Tim Brando. I always enjoy his thoughts when the big bad Power Five kind of pull a fast one on everybody else, kind of, let you peek behind the curtain. And there's that guy in the green suit. And he's kind of pulling all the strings, making it all happen. And we thought it was just this big open competition. Well, it's not really. He'll get after him sometimes. Let's see here. He says, Tim Brando says, quote, the eye test is also code for elitists in college football that govern the college football playoff. I prefer pure playoff privileged, and I'll continue calling those using eye test elitists that gerrymander the system on behalf of these same teams annually. Our sport is in peril and must be fixed. You agree with Tim Brando? Somebody responded to him and said, I'm with you. Boise State proved your point in 2006. Next time two group of five teams came along that good, Boise and TCU, they were put in the same bowl so as not to destroy any more myths. The Cellcom is a gated community, it appears. I mean, that's kind of what it is. This right here is really something else. Now, we are assuming that, number one, Ohio State will beat Northwestern in the Big Ten championship game and go to 6-0. We are assuming that Alabama beats Florida and erases that possibility of Ohio State being kept out. And then assuming the third level that the College Football Playoff Committee indeed will go, yeah, okay, they're in. They're in the playoff. I still question whether, if you're telling me that the entire country across the board is more interested in watching Ohio State versus Clemson like that in a playoff game than they would be this outlier, like Notre Dame versus Cincinnati, or something like that, or, Notre Dame versus Coastal Carolina. I don't know how the game would go, those games, but I think the intrigue would actually be higher. Then, here we go. So Ohio State and Clemson in there again. Seen that matchup 85 times over the last 10 years, it seems like, But the group of five, what should they do? Somebody says, what's the likelihood of Will Muschamp being named a defensive coordinator at State? It's unlikely. It's not likely. Walking Bully says the Big Ten put the rule in place initially to prevent this exact situation, knowing it could happen. So what changed between then and now? Hey, did it work? It didn't work. No. Hey, y'all, I got my multi-tool back, but she just told me whatever she was using it for, it did not work. So I'm going to have to do it later. So I'm going to use this later to open my box here from the Mississippi State University golf course. Yeah, Walking Bullies, what changed? What changed between then and now? Well, what changed is Ohio State only got to play 5 games. It's a rigged up deal geared towards them anyway. Really, the whole landscape of college football is rigged up and geared towards a few schools, just like Tim Brando says. And that's why a few schools, they kind of, they get away with a little more in recruiting. They get by with a little more. They recover a little faster if they ever do kind of get their hand caught in the cookie jar and the NCAA is forced to do something. So it's Broadway. That's what it is. It's Broadway. College football, increasingly more and more, it's not wrestling, where the outcome is determined before they show up. But it's not as open competition as any other sport. The NFL, the NBA, college basketball, college baseball, high school football, high school sports. It's the one that is the most rigged up and ready to go. I hate to say it, but it is. At least in terms of the championship level goes. Because I've said the way the sport has been run over the past couple of 3 decades has created this Grand Canyon where there's about 10 programs and schools on one side of the Grand Canyon from everybody else. Nick on the Country Pleasing text line says, USC, if they could get their act together, that's right. The Pac-12, you got basically 1 or 2 in the Pac-12 that are money grabbers enough for the TV partners and for the other conferences, and that's USC and Oregon, that if you can get them in the mix, they're okay with that. They'll pull them in if they can get them in the mix. But it's already this big exclusive deal. Why? Because it's a 4-team playoff and you have 5 power conferences. You heard the thing about Kirk Herbstreit, and he started his rant by saying, well, this is all about conference championship games.
This is about what happens in the conference championship games. If Ohio State's sitting there, if they go to Indianapolis and they win and they're 6-0 and they put on a Big Ten championship crown and they're Big Ten champs, I don't care if they played 5 games, 6 games. If they're crowned Big Ten champs, what happens in Charlotte, what happens in Atlanta is going to dictate where Ohio State is. If Alabama beats Florida, Ohio State would be in. Ohio State fans should be the biggest Alabama fans going because if Alabama...
Okay, so we're talking about conference championship games, right? And so what he's highlighting is what nobody involved with the college football playoff will come out and say whenever they're asked, are you going to expand the playoff to more teams? Well, they'll never come out and say what they're really thinking. Well, we kind of like it is because really we got 4-team playoff and we're really going to take 4 conference champions. Outside of the weird situation where we might take 2 SEC teams. You got a Power 5, and you couldn't possibly take all of the conference champions from the Power 5, could you? Because you have a 4-team playoff. What is it that Pete from Oh Brother Where Art Thou says?
That don't make no sense.
Is it conference champions or is it not? Well, if it's not conference champions, what is it? Oh, it's the best teams, the 4 best teams. Is it? Is that what it is? Because in 2020, in the middle of a pandemic, the Big Ten made a poor decision to hastily make a decision, only to come back and reverse it because everybody else was playing football. They put in a rule themselves. They put in their own rule. 6-game minimum to be in our conference championship this year in a shortened season, 6-game minimum. Only to find out that Ohio State had only played 5. So we're going to lift the rule in the last week of the season. Folks, it is pitiful. It is absolutely pitiful. It's not an open competition. Louvier says, is Ohio State one of the 4 best teams? I think they are, just saying go Saints. I think a lot of people think that. I mean, you can certainly look at it, their players and the way they recruit and the way they send them on to the NFL, that they're one of the 4 best teams. The problem is, Louvier, they haven't played enough games for us to know if they could earn their way into the playoff or not. They've played half as many games as these other guys. Half. You know, we talk about the gauntlet that an SEC schedule is. I mean, A&M's going to play 9 games when it's all said and done. They're only lost to Alabama. And you go, okay, but Ohio State's one of the 4 best teams. Well, maybe they are, but they haven't played enough games to really show us one way or the other. Meanwhile, A&M has shown us they are one of the 5 best teams in college football. They're sitting at home because their conference is not willing to move things around for one team's benefit. If the SEC was of the mindset of the Big Ten, what do they do right now? A&M needs a game. It would benefit them to beat somebody this week and next. They're going to beat Tennessee next week. It'd benefit them to beat somebody this week. The SEC would break their own rule. What did the SEC say back in early December, late November? Teams are allowed to schedule makeup games up until December the 19th, but they may not add opponents who weren't on their original schedule. The SEC said that at the end of November. Well, if the SEC was as squirrely and backboneless as the Big Ten leaders were, right this minute, the SEC would say, we're lifting that rule. A&M, schedule somebody. Who haven't you played? Who isn't playing this weekend? Who needs a game? Somebody play A&M. Tell you what, A&M, Tennessee, y'all play this week. A&M, Ole Miss, y'all play the end of the week, or the end of the season. Tennessee's opponent this week's like, hey, wait a minute. Vandy, well, for the heck with y'all. We need to get A&M in the playoff because it's $6 million for us. In light of what the Big Ten is doing, you have to have respect for SEC leaders. They're not moving the pieces around during the game. They're not moving their battleships, so to speak, during the course of the game. What they are doing is absolutely pitiful. There's about half of the existing college football fans out there who really are okay with it and don't care. I have news for you. A dwindling attendance and interest in college football, that other half of the fan base out there cares. They don't like it, and they're about to be fed up. Spend my money somewhere else. It's pitiful, y'all. Is this what we're capable of? It's pitiful. It's embarrassing. Stick around.
If you're
There's a game on the back that's lots of fun to do. All of the kids in the neighborhood say Tootsie Roll Pops are triple good. Triple good. You'll love Tootsie Roll Pops.
Hi, I'm Mike Wallace with a sensational shortening discovery for better baking and frying. It's Procter & Gamble's Golden Fluffo, the first all-new shortening in 40 years. It's rich. Its color is golden yellow, and what a pie it makes. Richer looking, better tasting, more appetizing. But let's hear what Mrs. Thelma Styra, Indiana State Fair baking champion, had to say about Fluffo.
I love Fluffo. It makes such a golden brown pie.
Oh, man, that's some apple pie.
Well, Mr. Wallace, that's a prettier pie than I ever baked with plain white shortening. And look how flaky it is. This yellow Fluffo is such a short shortening. Makes pie crust so rich.
Like cooking champions, get richer looking, better tasting, more appetizing results in everything you bake or fry. Get Golden Fluffo.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
You know, I've been accused of wearing a lot of hats in my career. And if you go to the Mississippi State University golf course, you can wear a lot of hats, a lot of the same hats I wear. Oh, that's nice. You know you like that. On Twitter, they are at Hail State GC, or call them 325-3028. That's the Mississippi State University golf course. We wear a lot of hats. Hail State.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding, whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me. All right, back with you. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Go with the home team. Whoa, on the live stream reminding us that Ohio State in 5 games beat one team with a winning record, Indiana. Keith says, what's up, Matt? I'm putting lights on the roof in Moorville. I just did that this morning here in Tupelo. In fact, I lost my wedding ring in the flower bed, moving pine straw around. My hands were cold and my wedding ring came right off. But I found it. We were worried there for a minute. Here's what we're about to spend some time on the Davini Equipment phone line. In about 2 minutes, I'm going to talk with my buddy Jonathan McMillan from Davini Equipment in Madison about something that's coming up. First, Rooster has been hanging on the Davini phone for quite a bit. What's up, Rooster?
Yeah. Merry Christmas. No, I just totally disagree about Ohio State. They even at 5-0, they deserve to be in the championship game. And then everyone they
based
play,
on what?
You'll get a
well, you used hold on, Rooster, hold on. You used the word deserve. Based on what?
What they are. It's Ohio State.
Okay, so it's the name on the helmet. It's not what they've done on the field. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
So why do we play games and have any competition whatsoever then based on that rationale, Rooster?
Well, the good thing...
Hey, time out. No, don't even answer that. Because based on that, we should have LSU in the college football playoff right now, based on that. Do you agree?
No.
Right, Rooster?
Hold
on. Do you agree, based on what you just said, we should have LSU in the national championship picture right now?
Of course not. They've lost 4 games.
Well, you just said what they've done on the field. You said what Ohio State has done on the field. It's not. You said it's who they are. It's what they are. It's who they are, the name on their helmet, or in their case, they don't have a name on the helmet. Which is it?
Well, today,
are we holding one team out of the playoff because of what they haven't done on the field, but we're putting one team in the playoff, and what they've done on the field doesn't matter? Which is it?
They got to win the championship game. They still got to win the championship game. So
and if they do that, if they do that, Rooster, they will have played almost half as many games as all the other teams. You tell me that's fair. If you tell me that's fair, Ohio State has played one team with a winning record, Indiana. If you tell me that's fair, I tell you you're wrong and it's horse crap.
I disagree. But I called to talk about the Mississippi State recruiting. Is it really 29th in the country according to the Clarion Ledger? Is it that bad?
Rooster, you're talking to the wrong guy to talk about recruiting, man. I have no idea, and I don't keep up with it, and I don't care. I never will. I never have, and I never will. So that's for another
show. You don't know Big John Lewis? Big John Lewis is going to be the next All-American at Mississippi State. You don't know him?
No.
He's from Germantown. Mississippi State signed him, not yet, but he's storing the Clarion Ledger.
Okay.
I don't know John Lewis. I thought you did.
No,
but no, I disagree.
don't keep up with it.
Back to Ohio State, but what doesn't deserve to be there, in Ponzo's opinion, is Clemson. Clemson doesn't deserve to be in that 4. They've lost.
Yeah,
if they lose again,
they have to beat Notre Dame.
If they lose again, they certainly don't deserve it.
Well, they have to beat.
I heard Dan
Notre Dame to be in. And if they lose to Notre Dame, they won't be in fact.
Well, I've heard some people say, yeah, they should be.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The loser of that game, if it's Notre Dame, doesn't need to be in the playoff either. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, and they won't be.
They have a shot.
They have a shot, but I don't know that a one-loss Notre Dame is in. But again, here's the thing about it. Here's the thing, Rooster, and then I got to move on. Here's the thing about it. Still, a one-loss Notre Dame, a one-loss Clemson, they've played twice as many games this year as Ohio State. And their conference didn't finagle the rules to get them in there. Rooster, thanks for the call, man. Call me anytime. My man, J-Mac, Jonathan, from Divinity Equipment in Madison. Hey, did you hear all that?
I kind of got bits and pieces. I was kind of shocked. I mean, Indiana, they're a powerhouse. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sure there.
I'm picking up your
Indiana's my team.
I'm picking up your sarcasm.
Indiana's my team. They my guys.
What was that line from that movie, Tommy Boy? I'm picking up your sarcasm. Well, I should hope so because I'm laying it on pretty thick. J-Mac from Divinity.
At least you would talk about Indiana like that.
Yeah, I know. How dare I? Jonathan from Divinity Equipment in Madison. Of course, they got a location there on Spring Ridge Road in Jackson, too. Jonathan, I just want to real quick talk deer hunting with you. Do you mind if I talk deer hunting with you?
And I would prefer it. Deer hunting, yes.
Hey,
we like deer hunting. Absolutely.
I tried to tell some people earlier this week. I said, and look, it's they don't have just tractors at Divinity. Like if you're a hunter, and the only thing that came out of us is you walk in. They've got things you can climb a tree with, sit in a tree on, camo this, camo that, boots. And I said they have bags of what? What's that over there? Corn? Is that corn in that bag over there?
We got a few little corn, 2 bags of corn. That's right. There you go.
So anything for the hunter. But here's what I was going to kind of put. I kind of put the cat out of the bag just a little bit yesterday. But I'm really excited about this. You and I are going to team up on the Oh-Deer Big Buck Challenge, where hunters can bring in a big buck, have it scored at your store at Divinity Equipment in Madison, and we're going to hand out prizes at the end of the deer season. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been involved in, like I said, a big buck bounty contest for several years, and this year we kind of decided to kind of go off with you and partner up with you guys, and I think Farm Bureau and Country Pleasing, I think they're going to kind of get on board with it too, with some different prizes and whatnot. So yeah, man, we're excited about it. But yeah, if you're out there hunting, I know this week, man, I know we've had, like I said, everybody that comes in here, they're usually talking football or hunting or something. whenever they're dealing with their equipment. So I know this week a lot of people have come in and said, man, the deer's starting to move, man, those bucks are starting to check. So I know there's going to be a lot of people in the woods, these next few weeks coming up through the holidays. So if you guys kill a deer, kill a good buck, bring it by Madison, and we will score that deer. We'll take a picture, send it to you. We'll do probably some social media posts and whatnot. And if you have one of the top deer that's scored, and we're probably going to do 3 different categories. We'll probably do a typical, a non-typical, and then a youth category. So there'll be 3 different categories that we're going to do to where we'll give out prizes, kind of at the end of it. But yeah, bring it by, man. We will score it. You will know what your deer scored, and then your name will be in the hat to win the prizes, man. So yeah, we're excited.
I'm excited about it too. And you're going to take pictures. And just to be clear, Jonathan, so let's just say, like, hypothetically, somebody this afternoon kills a big buck. They could bring it by, and they just come to the store there on Highway 51 in Madison at Deviney, come in, and you've got somebody there who can score the deer right there in the store, right? Or at least out front.
We do, yeah. We've got a couple of guys that they've done this for several years. So we've got some guys that are kind of trained on how to score the deer. But yeah, you bring it by. There again, we are running a business here, so you may have to, as long as we're just not running around. But for the most part, we'll accommodate you. But swing it by, we'll score it, take some pictures of it, and you'll be entered into the contest.
Awesome. I can't wait to see some of the entries.
Have you sold any of the prizes yet?
Well, no, I haven't. And I will let the cat out of the bag right here for sure. I know you've got some prizes, but whoever our winners are going to be loaded up with some country pleasing sausage. There's going to be a country pleasing sausage package, gift pack, if you will, for some of our winners. I know they're in on it. What do you have?
Well, I know I've talked to a couple of our vendors. I know we have some Yeti products that are on board. One of our for our biggest prize, we partnered up with the guys over at Cajun Fryer at Bayou Classic down in Louisiana, which they make some outstanding fryers, like if you're deep frying catfish, whatever you're doing there. But one of their best products that they make is a steak, is what they call a Cajun steak broiler. Mm-hmm. If you cook steak, and I know you do, Matt, and these things are phenomenal. So those guys have been gracious enough to give us one of those to give away. So that's going to be one of the top prizes.
That is incredible. A steak broiler from Cajun Fryer. I would love to win that myself.
Oh man, those things are awesome.
I'm telling you.
I had a guy coming in this morning. They cooked with it yesterday, and he said that was the best steak I've ever put in my mouth. So anyway.
I don't have one, but I've had steaks that have been, broiled in one, if you will. And let me tell you something. It is unbelievable. So if you're listening again, kind of wrap up. We got Jonathan McMillan on from Deviney Equipment in Madison, Highway 51 Madison. We got the BBC, the Oh Dear BBC Big Buck Challenge. I'll be telling you about it. I can't wait to see what kind of entries we get. But if you have a big buck, take it by. They'll score it. At the end of the deer season, we're going to give away prizes, probably a typical, non-typical, and one youth prize. But everybody's got a chance to win something. So we'll keep track. Jonathan, let me know when a big one comes through. All right?
Man, yeah. Awesome, dude. Looking forward to it. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it. So y'all go by. All right. See ya. Yeah, see ya. Jonathan McMillan, J-Mag. Go up there, kill a big buck, go to Deviney, and sneak up in there, and Jonathan's working, and he's got his back turned to you, and he's working. You go, "Hey, Jonathan!" See if he jumps that high off the ground. Tell him I told you to do it. And then get yours scored, and you could go home with prizes and a broiler and stuff from Country Pleasing Sausage and some Yeti stuff also. All right, hour 2 coming up. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest. all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me. Hey, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. If you head with me over to cspire.com, over to their website, this is something you can do. And I noticed this today before I went and logged in. I was going to pay my bill, and it says at the top, deals you can believe in. You click that shop deals, and it takes you over here to a couple of things that you need to know about here for the holiday season. First of all, they're doing a trade-in right now. So like I can take my old iPhone 8 Plus and trade this in for an iPhone 12. The other thing is, I wanted to show you this. First of all, I love the ad with the bull and the Santa hat, but the no bull deal, you probably heard about that on our show. No gotchas and hidden in the fine print in the bill, no most expensive plan requirements, no waiting 3 months to get your promo credit, no having to, bring a phone number with you, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you from experience, I go here, my bill's the same every month. There's not a lot of hidden stuff. My cost doesn't go up. Once I'm in. I know what it costs every month. You get all of that stuff. And I just wanted to make you aware. Just go to cspire.com. You can see all of it. Merry Christmas.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
You hear me say Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson a lot on the radio show. Highway 51 in Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson. And yeah, it's tractors, okay? Kubota tractors, they have New Holland tractors, big equipment, skid steers, ATVs, all that. But you need to know this time of year, if you're a deer hunter, if you know a deer hunter in the area, anywhere around Madison and Jackson, Davini has everything, okay? I'm not talking about just, feeders and all the stuff that goes with that, but tree stands, climbing stands, chairs, camo this, camo that, boots, accessories, everything for the hunter. Davini Equipment, Highway 51 Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I've been accused of wearing a lot of hats in my career. And if you go to the Mississippi State University golf course, you can wear a lot of hats, a lot of the same hats I wear. Oh, that's nice. You like that. On Twitter, they are at HailStateGC, or call them 325-3028. That's the Mississippi State University golf course. We wear a lot of hats. Hail State.
1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right, back with you. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Farm Bureau Insurance, go! With the home team staying connected to you because of C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. C Spire, customer inspired. If you're just tuning in, we had an eventful first hour. The leadership in college football, not all of it, but some of it is an absolute embarrassment. There is no spirit of competition. Let me say it again. There is no spirit of competition among many of the leaders in college football, not all of them. But many of them, there is no spirit of competition. It's a big, fat joke. It's horse manure, what they are doing in the Big Ten. So I'll be rooting for Florida in the SEC title game. Not because I want Florida to win. I don't really care one way or the other. I actually pick Alabama to win. I think they will. But if Florida wins, it would keep Ohio State out. That's what everybody deserves at this point. And it's really not even Ohio State's fault. All right, we'll see what comes up with the rest of it. Also, if you're tuning in, we had Jonathan McMillan on from Davini Equipment in Madison. And we're kicking off the, oh dear, Big Buck Challenge, the BBC. It's going to go on all throughout to the end of January, to the end of deer season. We'll even let people bring deer in and have them scored the first couple of weeks of February. We'll give prizes away to the winners in the Big Buck Challenge in the middle of February. And so take your big deer that you kill legally to Davini Equipment in Madison. One of my favorite deer hunters is on hold. The man they call Hawk, Chicken Hawk, from Parts Unknown. What's up, Mr. Hawk?
Well, I just, tried to get in there, and I couldn't make it in time there. Cowboy Bill couldn't get me on with you and Jonathan.
Cowboy Bill.
Were running, yeah. Cowboy Bill, what? Yeah, y'all, you and Cowboy, me, he couldn't get me on, but bless his heart, he tried, though. But I had to text Jonathan, and Jonathan wanted to know how he sounded. I told him, he always be sounding good. He ain't quite got the radio personality that I do. But anyhow, look at here. One thing you got to give me a little bit now, because I've been hurt. I've been out. I've been on that not endangered list, but I've been on the injured reserve list. So that dude Rooster.
Yeah.
And I have been. I've been sick, but the dude Rooster. Let me tell you something. I know chicken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a chickenologist. I have a CHD, so I don't know what kind of chickens that he would accidentally be up in a chicken house servicing, but if that rooster there was to go up in some of the hen houses that I've got and know and go to, they would cackle him smooth up out of there with that stupid crap that he was saying a while ago about Ohio State. Ain't played but 5 games. I mean, dadgum, come on, brother. It ain't going to be played but 6. Hey, Mississippi State's going to be done. Ended up playing more than them. It may not win as much, but hey, but we on our way. #Hell State. But now then, here's the thing. I am on the Jonathan McMillan, the Davini phone line, the oldest in the United States of America, where you get the best value for your buck, and where you get the best service, and where you treated like family. Hey, Jonathan, I ain't going to charge you for that, my brother. You can text me back later if you want to send me some money. Because, see, Espen 105.9, The Zone, Pickens, Jackson, they paid me, Jonathan. You know that, so you keep your money. You know how it is. But listen, here's the thing. For that Big Buck Challenge, the grand prize is going to be supper with me, Matt, the Bulldog, and then Mr. Jonathan McMillan. We'll take pictures. Of course, I'll give y'all some autograph pictures and all that. But that's going to be the grand prize for the Big Buck. And I'll bring some of my deer meat. I'll tell you what, I'll give some of my deer meat away because I got the dude that does my deer meat makes some really good deer meat. Deer about the best, probably the best, don't he?
Yes. It's very, very good. Yes, very good.
Yes, and I got 2 in the deep for you right now, and I got some new flavors you ain't tried yet. So, anyway, you and Jonathan, I'll call him back here in a minute after I get off. We're gonna rig that up. That's gonna be I don't care about that brawler and all that. That's really good stuff. And those people that are sponsored, hey, y'all go ahead. But the big prize for Santa Claus to put up underneath your tree, of course, deer season don't end to the 31st January. But anyway, is supper with Matt and Chicken Hawk and Jonathan McMillan. How's that?
Sounds good. Let's do it. I'm all for it. Hey, thanks for the call, Chicken Hawk. You better answer that CB radio right now. You better answer it. Hawk, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. I don't know how you transition, but he's throwing prizes in the mix. We'll discuss it. Why not? We'll discuss it. Let's just go outside somewhere, sit 6 feet apart, build a fire, and Chicken Hawk bring the deer meat. And look, if you're the winner of that prize, all you got to do is sit there. You don't have to talk. He's going to do all the talking. In fact, the only person who's done more talking on the radio the last few days than Chicken Hawk, our 5-star caller, is Neil Price, the voice of Mississippi State football and men's basketball on the radio. He is Hail State Voice on Twitter and Instagram. Y'all give him a follow if you don't already. And he's on your radio right now. Neil Price, thanks for giving me a little time because I know you had a basketball game last night. You were working. Hope you're doing well.
I'm good. I'm just really curious to know if Chicken Hawk had Snowman and Fred on the other end of that CB radio or not.
I don't know who that was, but he's called in at times, Neil, and given me pointers on things you should and shouldn't say on the CB radio. He knows it. This is like, we're talking about a veteran right here. Like you said, he would have fit right in that scene on the movie screen. You know what I'm saying?
The only thing I know about the Citizens Band, or at least what I used to know, is that Channel 19 was always for the over-the-road truck drivers.
Yeah.
And that, as the bandit told Sheriff Buford T. Justice, you don't cuss on this here radio. Those are my two things that I know about the Citizens Band.
Yeah, right. The Citizens Band. Well, as a kid growing up, we used to always hear you'd say, 10-4, good buddy. And that's how you'd say goodbye to somebody on the CB. Chicken Hawk told me that you do say 10-4, but you better not say good buddy. He says, you don't want to say that. He said, that has a whole different meaning nowadays.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I learned something.
That's right.
I learned something. There you go.
There you go. That's what I'm saying now. He can educate you on that CB radio. Neil, I know there's a lot of places we could start in our conversation here today, but the most recent was basketball last night. It looked like it was interesting in the first half. Jackson State went on a little run and took the lead on Mississippi State, but Bulldogs turned it on in the second half, huh?
Yeah, and give Jackson State a lot of credit. Those guys were playing their first game of the season. They had a few that had been postponed because of COVID protocol. They were a little shorthanded, didn't have a player that had been 2 years in a row, the SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. That was a late scratch for them last night. And they came out and played in that first half like they were excited, that they were glad to be playing. They got a fantastic score that is the SWAC Preseason Player of the Year, and came out, with a hot hand, hit 3 threes real early in the game, and then State kind of started to find its way defensively, and in the second half really used, some high-pressure defense to start turning Jackson State over and turning that defense into offense. And I think it was a 16-0 run to start the second half, and next thing you know, they're up by 30 at one point, and they're coasting the rest of the way. Got a lot of young guys in the game. So, good night, good homestand. They won all 3 games. They're above 500 now after dropping those first 2 down in Florida. And given everything that they're having to work through with COVID and how that kind of changed the start of the season, and given that they've got 7 new scholarship players on this team that are still trying to learn how to play the game with one another. I think all in all, pretty good result.
You know, as you were talking, Neil, I hadn't thought about this, but there are some parallels, aren't there, with the Mississippi State football program and the basketball program, in that there's a whole bunch of new players you're having, first-year players you're depending on both those teams in a year where you didn't have a normal run-up to the season to kind of get those new guys ready. I mean, am I right in that you can see some similarities in the situation Mike Leach has had to deal with and what Ben Howland is having to deal with also?
Yeah, I think the difference is, you know, with the basketball team, Matt, you've got a guy like Iverson Molinar, who even though he missed those first 3 games, as soon as he got back out there, you know, last Friday against North Texas, you knew he was going to change things for him, and he was going to be one of those veteran guys. You've got Abdul Adu, who's a 5th-year senior, who can provide some leadership and really is a difference maker on the defensive end. DJ Stewart's been in the program for 3 years, even though this is only the 2nd year that he's played because he redshirted. So you've got 3 guys on a 5-man team that, you know, have some experience, where in football, you know, you might have had that early in the year where you had some guys on the field who played some football here, but now, I mean, you're looking at Osiris Mitchell, and he is a veteran guy, probably the veteran guy in that skill group. You know, Peyton's a senior, but he's only been here a couple years. Offensive line, you got a couple old guys up there who have to provide some leadership, and then on defense, obviously, you've got Kobe Jones, Spencer, and Errol Thompson that have been around for a long time, played a lot of ball here. But I just think because the numbers are what they are in football, it's much more noticeable how many of these young players have had to step in and really do something right away. And it's been fun to watch that. I mean, last 3 weeks, last 3 games, I know 2 of them haven't gone State's way, but it's still been fun to watch these guys kind of figure it out a little bit.
Figure it out and seem to be getting a little better and give you the feeling that they've got a chance, you know, some hope and a chance going into some of the ball games. And, you know, you start to feel that way now, seeing some flashes from that young basketball team. But man, Neil, it's like I'm watching some of the ball game and listening to some of it, and I feel like I need a roster, you know, to learn faces, and names. You're like 5 or 6 games into it, and I'm sure that roster is pretty handy for you in the hump also, right? Like still getting to know those guys.
Yeah, it's, you know, and the thing that's been toughest for me, even though these 2 guys in terms of stature look nothing alike, you know, we got 2 Smiths. We've got Davon that plays backup point now, and we've got Tolu who plays down the block, who was fantastic last night, you know, with a double-double. But I have those 2 Smiths out there, and you just kind of take for granted that you can use a guy's last name as an identifier, and then you catch yourself kind of in midstream. Well, wait a minute, who's playing point right now? You know, let's make sure we don't have 2 guys out there with the same last name. But you know, that's been the trickiest part for me. But I think they got a really good group of newcomers on that basketball team, and you know, I think Tolu's going to get a lot of the headlines out of that group just because he transferred in from Western Kentucky. He had a redshirt year. He's kind of a guy who's been able to work on his game a little bit. Big, strong guy that gives him a real scoring threat in the paint. You know, but those other guys, you know, Davon Smith's going to come along. I mean, here's a guy that started as a true freshman, first collegiate game he ever played in. You know, so I mean, literally learning on the job, and that's not an easy. I mean, he started against Clemson, started against an ACC team in his first game in college. I mean, not a lot of guys doing that. And, you know, Keandre Montgomery's getting to play a little bit, not as much Cameron Matthews. I think Olive Branch has been, he's been fantastic on defense, and the offensive stuff's going to come along for him. But what he does to help other players on the offensive end has been good, you know, early in the year too. So these young guys are going to be fun to watch. I hope people are getting to watch them either on TV. The few that are getting to come to the hump, I said last night on the air, we're seeing a lot of familiar faces. You tell that season ticket holders who were able to get tickets and be a part of it this year, they've been real steady these first 3 games that come and support the team. And I know that it's good to see that from my seat, and I'm sure the players and coaching staff appreciate that too, given everything going on in the world. And you know, it's just, for me, it's a nice distraction is what it is. I'm glad to be working, but it's a nice distraction from everything else going on in the world, that you can come and you can watch the game and kind of unplug from the outside world for 3 hours and just enjoy it.
That's right. Neil Price on your radio right now. He is Hail State voice. He called Mississippi State's basketball win last night over Jackson State. He'll be on the call for the football game Saturday against Auburn. So, the
basketball game too.
And the basketball game Saturday. Man, Neil, like, for you as a broadcaster, you're in the overlap season, aren't you?
Yeah, and we're all kind of learning that, aren't we? Because football hasn't gone into December here in a long, long time when it didn't involve a bowl game. I was reading through the game notes earlier, and the last time that State played a game in December that was not a bowl game was against San Francisco in 1941, December 6th, 1941, the day before the Japanese invaded Pearl Harbor. That's crazy.
That is crazy
to think about that. But all of us now, in the midst of this pandemic, we are becoming footnotes in future sets of game notes as we go forward. Will Rogers is going to be a footnote because he's going to be the quarterback for Mississippi State that started one of the latest games ever played in the regular season for State. Same thing for Bo Nix on the Auburn side, and anybody else that gets in the game for them on Saturday. The first time I've really had that thought, I just go into it thinking it's a game, but now you're like, this is wild that just the season doesn't go on this long, and here we are.
And here we are. Well, and for you, we were talking about how new everything is in basketball, Neil, but it's not only for Coach Howland and the team, but it's new for you too, with Coach Richard Williams moving back into coaching. He's now at Southern Miss, and so that was your color guy for basketball. What's it like? What's it been like calling these games solo, all by yourself?
Well, it's an adjustment because, I think Coach Williams and I got into a pretty good routine with one another. We built some really good chemistry together over the last 3 years. I miss him terribly. I don't care to tell you that, because number one, I just enjoy being around him. He acts about half his age, and that's a great gift. I think when you can do that, he's a very youthful person, and I miss that time. But I also learned something when I was around him. He could teach people about the game and could break it down on a level, I think, where even if you were a novice, you could understand the point he was trying to make. And I think that's why he was such a great coach, why he still is a great coach, because he's got the ability to teach on a level that a lot of folks can understand. And, I was never a competitive athlete. I was never a coach, but I imagine that there's just something in you that, it never really goes away. The competitive part never really leaves you. And I think, for him to want to get back in and do it, I encourage that because, listen, he taught me a lot, and I know he's still got a lot he can teach a lot of people. So I'm happy for him from that standpoint. But I miss having him at the games with me. And, it's unfortunate for the fans, too, because I don't care to tell you, I'm doing the best that I can. But what we lose without having Coach Williams is that you just don't have the ability on the broadcast now to really break down some of the X's and O's and the really fine details that go into why a play worked or why it didn't, that you can give us in football and that Jay helps give us from the sidelines in football. We just don't have that in basketball. And I told somebody the other night, kind of jokingly, I can spot bad footwork occasionally on defense, and I can point that out, or I can maybe see something as obvious as, like last night, Jackson State tried to trap in the corner, and, I think it was Tolan Smith or DJ Stewart one just had a really, really good look underneath, and Javian Davis had sealed off his defender, and he's got an easy chance to get a layup right in front, winds up going to the foul line. Well, okay, I can break that down. That's easy. I mean, the numbers were in their favor, and JD does a great job with a seal. Beyond that, I can't get into the details very much. So I try to go more based on stories and trends and kind of keep people informed of what's going on there. And, I did a lot of games by myself. At Kentucky, I did 12 years worth of women's basketball by myself and 12 years worth of baseball by myself, and it's not a foreign concept, but when you work with somebody as good as Richard Williams for 3 years, you absolutely realize what you don't have when it's not there.
Sure. Yeah. Don't know what you got till it's gone, but in our case, we knew what we had,
Oh yeah, we knew we had one of the best.
That's
yeah,
right.
and I'd put him up there against anybody if he ever wanted to do it again. I mean, he could do this at the highest level if he wanted to. He's that good at it.
There ain't no question about it. It was like going to school, just listening, and that kind of thing. But I will tell you, Neil, listening in, you do a heck of a job. But I'm not here to butter your bread. But it really is an excellent broadcast, considering that you're flying solo on it. But thank goodness, at least you'll have one ball game this weekend. You won't be flying solo. It'll be us, and we'll be watching a little football against the Auburn Tigers. Neil, it's good to hear your voice. I appreciate some time here today on this Wednesday, man. I'll see you on Saturday.
I'll see you Saturday.
All right, thanks. That's Neil Price. Y'all follow him on Twitter if you don't already, at Hail State Voice, and listen in to him on the radio when you get the opportunity. All right, we'll jump back in. Got a whole bunch of your text messages to take a look at here. Rex and Caleb and Jason and Fred and Denzel and JM and Miko and others and QB1 and others and others and others. We'll get to all those and your comments on the live stream coming up. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Stick around. Trust me on this, you will sleep better on a mattress from Nest and Wild. It's 100% American made, from top to bottom, all the way to the floor. It's a great Mississippi company. It's right here at home. I know the people. Every mattress they make is 12 inches thick, and if you order it, it'll show up in your doorstep in 5 days. So if you're like me and sometimes you procrastinate on Christmas gifts, you can wait right up until the last minute. All right, I'm not suggesting that, but you could do it. And if you use Bully20, BULLY20, you also get a free pillow top mattress cover to go with it. So it's a great deal. Use that code. Go to nestandwild.com, order your mattress, get it here in time for Christmas. Winsipedia.com. Winsipedia.com. Wins, the letter I, pedia.com. Winsipedia.com. If you're a football fan, if you keep up with games, you have a favorite team who's playing somebody new this weekend, certainly if you're a person that's in media like me, you're in radio or maybe you write, this is an incredible website that's a resource for any historical matchup. You can compare any two teams, just put them in there, no matter who they are in Division I football. It'll give you the entire series history. It'll give it to you visually in a graph. You can click on individual matchups. You can look at the whole list. You can even get information, historical information on just one team, but Winsipedia, it's a great historical matchup resource for college football. Check it out.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, let me tell you a little bit about C-Spire. If you head with me over to cspire.com, over to their website, this is something you can do. And I noticed this today before I went and logged in. I was going to pay my bill. And it says at the top, deals you can believe in. You click that shop deals, and it takes you over here to a couple of things that you need to know about here for the holiday season. First of all, they're doing a trade-in right now. So like I can take my old iPhone 8 Plus and trade this in for an iPhone 12. The other thing is I wanted to show you this. First of all, I love the ad with the bull and the Santa hat, but the no bull deal, you probably heard about that on our show. No gotchas and hidden in the fine print in the bill. no most expensive plan requirements, no waiting 3 months to get your promo credit, no having to, bring a phone number with you, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you from experience, I go here, my bill's the same every month. There's not a lot of hidden stuff. My cost doesn't go up. Once I'm in. I know what it costs every month. You get all of that stuff. And I just wanted to make you aware. Just go to cspire.com. You can see all of it. Merry Christmas.
ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
All right, let's roll. Back with you here, hour 2 of the show. Lots of reaction going on. We've got a lot of texts to get to. I'm going to get to those now. Y'all can call me on the Davini phone, 995-1059, 601 number, 995-1059. Love to hear your voice that way. Call me. Shoot me a text over here on the Country Pleasin' text line. Country Pleasin' sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Country Pleasin' is for every season. Not going to go so far as to say they are the reason for the season. That would be Jesus. I'm saying that you can year-round at any type of ball game, watching any type of ball game, get some country pleasing, you can't go wrong. The text line, 885-ESPN or 885-3776. Lots of reaction here. Okay, so on Twitter, let's go to Twitter first. I'm Radio Wyatt. My friends over at College Football Nerds, get those nerds, said, we keep getting the same comment from Oklahoma fans as to why we don't rank them higher than, say, Georgia, who we think they possibly beat. But Georgia also wouldn't have lost to Iowa State, Kansas State. Consistency in college football is hard, and Ohio State just can't prove it in 6 games. That's kind of what my deal is. It's not a big enough cross-section. Look, you can say what you want, but there's a reason that initially the Big Ten went, well, look, you got to play at least 6 ball games to get in the conference championship. Why? Because 5 ain't enough for anybody to have earned the right to get in it. Oh, Ohio State has. How? By playing one team with a winning record? Indiana? It'd be one team with a winning record. Indiana, that's it. See, what Twitter is responding to is what I responded to. Tony Barnhart tweeted this. People ask about the eye test, and it's simply this. Look at Team A and their talent. Look at Team B and their talent. Who would win on a neutral field? For those who believe strongly in the eye test, an undefeated Ohio State is in because they are one of the best 4 teams. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Who has the right to glance at a football team and definitively evaluate their talent versus somebody else's? What's the point of playing games? Is there nothing in this that is about earning the right to go play for more? Are you serious? That the eye test is, I'm going to look at your talent, I'm going to look at your talent. You'd beat him in a neutral field. You're in. Get out of here with that. My response was, that is horse. If it has nothing to do with teams being able to earn it on the field, then what are we doing? What are we doing? Much of the leadership in the sport should be embarrassed, but they aren't. The stacks of cash are blocking their view of the mirror. It's one of the most unseemly, unsightly things that has gone on in major college football right out in the open. Other than the big boys getting away with what they get away with in recruiting, right out in the open, this is the most embarrassing thing. My friend over at Six Pack Speak said, didn't Ohio State beat Indiana? I think they did earn it on the field. The major fault is the Big Ten as a whole waiting to start the season so late. It provided very little wiggle room. Well, hold on a minute. By that same thing, we're going, Ohio State's 5-0 and they beat Indiana. They earned it. Wait a minute. Texas A&M beat Florida and played twice as many games as Ohio State and beat Florida. So they're in, right? They beat Florida, who's better than Indiana. And their only losses to number 1 Alabama juggernaut, and they played twice as many games. So by that, they should be in, not Ohio State. College football nerds said the biggest reason for us, including Ohio State, is that there isn't clearly a better argument for anyone else. Same reason we agreed with 2017 Alabama. Max, you have 2 teams clearly deserve to be in, Alabama, Notre Dame. So undefeated champion Ohio State plus the eye test, there it is. He said, or else USC should be in. It's a solid pick. Well, is it? When somebody makes a rule, why? Answer this. Give me the commissioner of the Big Ten on this show. Give me somebody, Herb Street, somebody, any of them. Give them on the show, and I'm going to ask them one question. Why did the Big Ten put the 6-game rule in to begin with? Why? Can y'all answer that? Mr. Warren, commissioner of the Big Ten. Why did you put a 6-game minimum for conference championship requirement in to begin with? Why? 8-game season, 6-game minimum. Why? Because we felt like 5 wouldn't be enough for somebody to fairly get in. Had to play enough games. Why'd it change? Big pile of crap is what all this is. And I'm afraid that, they're losing me, man. They're losing me. I'll be honest with you. I grew up on SEC football, and I know this is not an SEC problem. It's not. But college football's problems are the SEC's problem because the SEC is the upper echelon of college football. And, it's a 1-team race, 1 or 2-team race every year in the SEC. Why? Well, because nobody really polices recruiting. There's a Grand Canyon between some schools and everybody else. Okay, so everybody's playing for second place. People don't play by the same rules. They just don't in recruiting and everything else. Okay, so you have this big. So you got pageantry. We went to school there, so we love it, and that's basically all we have to hang on to. Okay, because it's not about actually going out here and being on an equal playing field with other teams. It's just not for majority of college football. And I grew up on the SEC and all, but I'm just telling you, man, I'm getting closer and closer to becoming just like a bystander. Throw my time in following somebody like Delta State, somebody like, someone like that, who's got a legitimate championship to play for, kids that want to be there, they got a legitimate championship to play for, and they're on the same level as everybody else. UNA, Mississippi College, I'm fast moving that direction. I'll be honest with you. They're losing me. This kind of stuff right here, man, life's too short for me to pay attention to this kind of crap. And I understand. That's dangerous to say. You know, it's not a have to. It's not a job. I get to be a part of calling games on the radio for Mississippi State. I love the school, went to school there. I love it. I want the teams to win, do well. I love following it. But outside of that, I got no interest, man. I'm sorry. I'm this kind of stuff right here, it's not just me they're losing. They're going to lose other people too. This kind of crap right here. You know, look, just clean it up, if anything. Okay? Just clean it up and get everything above board. I think that would help me and others who are fans of the sport. Clean it up, number one. What I mean by that is, you know, if let the Power Five go be the Power Five by themselves. And if some schools can load recruits up with cars and money and move their families into town, well, let everybody do it. Figure out a way to let everybody do it. And maybe this name, image, and likeness thing is the open door to that. Okay? Go ahead, do it. Fine. At least it's just tell everybody what's up. Okay? And then the group of five, remove them from this equation of, oh, Southern Miss is playing for the same championship that Alabama is chasing. Are you kidding me? What a joke. It is an insult to my intelligence for you to think that I buy it. So take the group of five, the Sun Belt, the MAC, Conference USA, AAC, all of them, and give them a legitimate championship to chase. The group of five national championship, give them a playoff. The TV ratings for it would be through the roof as opposed to the New Orleans Bowl with, you know, Louisiana in it every year. Make it a playoff game. We'll watch because it's playing for something. It's legit college football. Some of those guys are going to the NFL. At least clean it up and make it above board. Give them a championship to play for. But you be on the same page with us that they are not on the same level as these schools in a Power Five. A lot of the Power Five are not on the same level as the ones at the top of the Power Five because the leadership in this sport has failed. The only thing they have exceeded in is filling their own pockets. A few conferences, not even 5, 4 conferences filling their pockets, and a few individuals filling their pockets. That's the only thing they've succeeded in. TV ratings going down slowly but surely. Attendance at games going down slowly but surely. Fan interest overall, going down slowly but surely. This kind of stuff right here does not help their problem. What a joke, man. What a joke. I said I'd get to your text. I will. Coming up next, I promise. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Stick around.
There's a game on the back that's lots of fun to do. All of the kids in the neighborhood say Tootsie Roll Pops are triple good. Triple good. You'll love Tootsie Roll Pops.
Hi, I'm Mike Wallace with a sensational shortening discovery for better baking and frying. It's Procter & Gamble's Golden Fluffo, the first all-new shortening in 40 years. It's rich. Its color is golden yellow, and what a pie it makes. Richer looking, better tasting, more appetizing. But let's hear what Mrs. Thelma Styra, Indiana State Fair baking champion, had to say about Fluffo.
I love Fluffo. It makes such a golden brown pie.
Oh, man, that's some apple pie.
Well, Mr. Wallace, that's a prettier pie than I ever baked with plain white shortening. And look how flaky it is. This yellow Fluffo is such a short shortening. Makes pie crust so rich.
Like cooking champions, get richer looking, better tasting, more appetizing results in everything you bake or fry. Get Golden Fluffo.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
You know, I've been accused of wearing a lot of hats in my career. And if you go to the Mississippi State University golf course, you can wear a lot of hats, a lot of the same hats I wear. Oh, that's nice. You know you like that. On Twitter, they are at HailStateGC, or call them 325-3028. That's the Mississippi State University golf course. We wear a lot of hats. Hail State.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me.
Show. Nobody breaks down quarterback play better than him. And he's right here, right now, online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right, here we are. Back with you, wrapping up hour 2. We got a long way to go. Hour 3, we'll get into a lot, including some more of your reaction to the news out there in college football world today. But there's other stuff to get into also. The college football world lost someone overnight, who former coach who y'all are familiar with. Who, a lot of folks here in the state of Mississippi got to know him personally. Also, Ray Perkins. We'll talk about some of that coming up in hour 3. Former Ole Miss quarterback is moving on. He's a new coach at a place here in Mississippi. I'll tell you who that is and what that is and talk about that. That's all coming up in hour 3 of the show. Also, today is National Christmas Card Day here on December 9th. Better get them out if you haven't already. Start mailing those things out, right? Today's National Christmas Card Day, and I got 26 of the funniest Christmas cards out there for this time of year. All right, so that's all coming up. Country Pleasing text line. Y'all send me a text. It's 885-3776 or 885-ESPN. QB1 says, I agree college football is rigged to give certain programs a distinct advantage, but the Big Ten made those rules, and when they did, no one saw this pandemic coming. We would need to know why they made these rules originally before we get frustrated with them about changing it. And since college football is rigged, the committee would give them a playoff spot even if they played 3 games. QB1, good point. Good text. Thank you. Miko says, Matt, rules are rules. I completely agree with you. Ohio State should not be eligible if they don't have enough games. I'm sick of seeing the same teams in the playoff every year. This is the year to let a Cincinnati or another undefeated team into the playoff. I totally agree, Miko. 100% on the same page with you. And he says, and Rooster needs to Chicken Hawk to come swoop down on him for that ridiculous call. I appreciate Rooster's call and being a good sport. JM says, Matt, Bama, Clemson, Notre Dame played 10 to 11 games. The wear and tear on their bodies and the injuries occurred by playing that many games is enormous. So they are letting Texas A&M with 5-6 games go. No, you're talking about Ohio State. 5-6 games, going into the playoff fresh, uninjured, play teams that are at about 80% this late in the year. No way it's fair. It's ridiculous. And JM, it's just another reason it is ridiculous. Half the wear and tear. Basically what amounts to 2 or 3 open dates. Let me ask you one more question. Would this Texas A&M team, whose only loss is to Alabama and who beat Florida, would this Texas A&M team be 5-0 against Ohio State's schedule? You bet. Nebraska, they'd kill them. Penn State, they'd run them out. Rutgers, it'd be an embarrassment. Oh, by the way, I know Rutgers has improved. Penn State was awful. Ohio State gave up 25 points. Rutgers is horrible. Ohio State gave up 27. Okay, Indiana, good football team with a winning record. Texas A&M would beat them. Michigan State. Ohio State has 5 wins. One of those teams has a winning record. Indiana. They're 5-0. Would Texas A&M be 5-0 against that schedule? Nebraska, Penn State, Rutgers, Indiana, Michigan State, with effectively 3 open dates in there. No question about it. There is, listen to me, listen, and I'm coming to Bill on the phone line. There is no measurable factor, on-field related, that says to you, Ohio State ought to get a free pass over these other teams. Not one. The only factor by which you could say they ought to go is because they have more future NFL players on their roster. That's it. The ambiguous eye test, reserved for decisions that mostly affect the financial bottom line. That's why we really need the eye test. Bill on the Davini Equipment phone line, Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Bill, thanks for holding on. What's up?
Good afternoon, Matt. How are you?
I'm good as far as I know.
Good. I was wanting to weigh in a little bit. He was talking about, the politics of college football is kind of loose, and it's kind of about lost me. I've kind of gone more to a high school type thing. And, there's less politics. They have, like you said a minute ago, they have like where you got, say, different levels of college football, have their own playoffs, like a Power 5 and a Conference USA and maybe a Sunbelt, something like that along those lines rather than the New Orleans stuff. At least in the playoffs, you had 6 divisions of high school in Mississippi. And they put on a good show. They really did. In fact, y'all did a good job bringing that, and I appreciated that. That Oak Grove and Oxford game was probably the best game I'd seen in several years, college or high school.
It was outstanding. I agree with you. It was a great game.
And, I enjoy stuff like that more than I do having to deal with the politics of college football. I know that sounds strange around here, but I really do enjoy high school ball more. The guys want to be there. They're not on a scholarship. They're playing because they want to. It's I don't know. There's something about it that's different.
Yeah. Bill, and I'm with you. This was a year where I did that. A lot of people did that early on as they sort of reconnected with high school football in a new way, a renewed way. And I thought and still think part of it is because high schools were the first to come back when the rest of the football world, we didn't know if we were even going to have football. The high school players and coaches and the administrators, they just got back to work, did the best they could with it. We're going to play. And they started playing games.
And don't get me wrong, they had some spoofs along the way. I know the teams had to cancel games even on the high school level.
Sure.
But they seemed to handle it better. It just, I don't know, it just seemed to be handling it better than the college teams have. And maybe I've got the wrong attitude. I don't know, but I just enjoyed it more this year.
Well, you are not alone, Bill. I promise you that. It's not something where you are unique. I think there's a lot of people, and I'm fighting it myself individually, Bill. This deal of I'm interested if Mississippi State's playing. That's my team. That's the uniform I played in. I love State, okay? So I'm interested if they're playing. I have had a really hard time forcing myself to be interested in other college and professional football this year like I normally am. I'm not supposed to get on the radio and admit something like that if I do a sports show, but I don't care. It's just the truth. Maybe there's personal reasons, but I think another reason for it is I'm looking at everything going on, and especially in the sport of Division I college football, the way it is manipulated to kind of sort of, I don't know, it's just so exclusive. The Coastal Carolinas, they don't have a chance in football to do something special. Well, it's a university. They've already got a national championship in baseball. Why? Because it's fair and above board. But a school like that has no shot in football. Not even Cincinnati has a shot in football because they're outside of the Power Five. I'm just sort of getting tired of it, and I think a lot of other people are too.
Well, thank you for taking my call, and I enjoyed talking to you.
You too, Bill. Call me anytime. Yeah, the best games I've watched all year have been high school games. Now, I will say that Arkansas-Missouri game this past Saturday was a heck of a ball game. I caught it. I happened to be doing some work around and turned the TV on in the office and caught the end of it. Denzel, thanks for sending me that graphic on the text line also. Earlier in the broadcast, I want to try to go back. I think it was Sven who sent us something about the non-Power 5. On the live stream, he said the non-Power 5 teams should stay together, go to the office of the NCAA and say 8 playoff teams and a guaranteed spot for the best non-Power 5 team, or we want our own playoff and national championship. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Now, the NCAA is going to go, yeah, but you need the big payday paychecks, for these games where, like Southern Miss, you get to go play Auburn, they cut you $1.5 million. You need that. Well, we can still schedule those. We can still do those. Just give us our own legit championship to play for. You up here in Indianapolis are looking us in the eye and telling us that you're really concerned about the student-athlete experience in their years in college. Oh, yeah? We'll give them a legit championship to play for and a playoff. I promise it would be better. TV partners would love it because then these postseason games for Sun Belt teams and MAC teams and AAC teams and Conference USA teams, they would actually draw ratings because the games are sure enough meaningful. Have I been on this rant too long? We're not slowing up. We got an hour to go. And there's some really good stuff on the Country Pleasing text line from Boomer Sooner and Walt and Anthony and Jason and everybody out there. Somebody even sent me a hottie toddy. I got to click and see what that's all about. Hour 3 coming up. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A Country Pleasing sausage is outstanding. Whether you cook it over a fire or in the house, cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite. the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me. Hey, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. If you head with me over to cspire.com, over to their website, this is something you can do. And I noticed this today before I went and logged in. I was going to pay my bill, and it says at the top, deals you can believe in. You click that shop deals, and it takes you over here to a couple of things that you need to know about here for the holiday season. First of all, they're doing a trade-in right now. So like I can take my old iPhone 8 Plus and trade this in for an iPhone 12. The other thing is, I wanted to show you this. First of all, I love the ad with the bull and the Santa hat, but the no bull deal, you probably heard about that on our show. No gotchas and hidden in the fine print in the bill. No most expensive plan requirements. No waiting 3 months to get your promo credit. No having to, bring a phone number with you, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you from experience, I go here, my bill's the same every month. There's not a lot of hidden stuff. My cost doesn't go up. Once I'm in. I know what it costs every month. You get all of that stuff. And I just wanted to make you aware. Just go to cspire.com. You can see all of it. Merry Christmas.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
You hear me say Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson a lot on the radio show. Highway 51 in Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson. And yeah, it's tractors, okay? Kubota tractors, they have New Holland tractors, big equipment, skid steers, ATVs, all that. But you need to know this time of year, if you're a deer hunter, if you know a deer hunter in the area, anywhere around Madison and Jackson, Davini has everything, okay? I'm not talking about just, feeders and all the stuff that goes with that, but tree stands, climbing stands, chairs, camo this, camo that, boots, accessories, everything for the hunter. Davini Equipment, Highway 51 Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I've been accused of wearing a lot of hats in my career. And if you go to the Mississippi State University golf course, you can wear a lot of hats, a lot of the same hats I wear. Oh, that's nice. You like that. On Twitter, they are at Hail State GC, or call them 325-3028. That's the Mississippi State University golf course. We wear a lot of hats. Hail State.
is the Matt Wyatt Show. Talking about sports from around the world and right here at home. Streaming to you at the Zone 1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
Just like that, the third hour of the show is underway. Hour number 3 presented by Overstreet Properties in Starkville, Stark Vegas, or Starkville, however you prefer to say it. Anything residential in the Starkville area, that's where you need to go. Trust me on that. You know, if you're moving there permanently, maybe you're headed into town for ball games several weekends out of the year like we do, you need a condo that's kind of yours when you come into town. Go to Overstreet Properties. I can speak from experience. Like, for instance, like this weekend, late game on Saturday night, State hosting Auburn. Stark Patch. That's another one. Thanks, Bill. Stark Patch. My wife and daughter, and I think our 2 miniature schnauzers are going to all come with me. They'll be in Starkville on Saturday. They're not going to go to the game, but they're going to be camped out at the condo, chilling. They might go and get some food and watch the game, and then they'll drop me off, and then they'll pick me up after the post game, and we'll spend the night instead of any of us driving home at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., as it were. And then we'll just spend the night in a nice condo and go home the next day. So if that's in your neck of your ballpark, in your range, and you can certainly get it done with Overstreet Properties. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. Text me, call me, comment on the live stream. Hey to y'all. Sven over here on the live stream said what he would do is split the Power 5 and the non-Power 5, make 2 playoffs, then the winner of both tournaments play for the national championship. That'd be kind of like the old NFL AFL days, right? Prior to the merger, like the Chiefs and the Jets. And they didn't merge until the Jets go in there and beat them finally. That's kind of what that would be like. So won't happen, but it sure would be interesting. It'd be a boon for television. So that's one of the things I point to. Some people say, okay, Matt, you're talking about all these problems in the sport of college football. Well, it's all caused by television. But I disagree. I disagree with that it's all, I mean, it contributes, and at times, again, and TV broadcasts have major issues nowadays. It's more often bad than it isn't in terms of the actual product on television. But listen, it's not their fault, okay? Because if TV had it their way, we'd have all this stuff. We'd have Cinderellas in the college football playoff if TV had their way. We'd have an expanded playoff if TV had their way. The group of 5 would have a full-fledged playoff because they'd have postseason games that would be big ratings compared to what they are now. So if TV had their way, they'd have all that. Well, they're not getting their way. Well, why not? It's pretty simple. 4 big conferences and a handful of big teams raking in the dough, filling their coffers. Like I said earlier, it's a great analogy. They can't really see accurately the issues they're facing because the stacks of cash are blocking their view of the mirror. It's in the way. All right. Here we go. Country Please and text line. 885-ESPN. Playing catch up a little bit, but hope y'all are still hanging in there with me. I'm going to make my way through some of these. Rebel Rex texted us a while ago, and he said it probably really tugs at Herbstreit's feelings that his team has to ride an SEC transfer at quarterback. Wonder where Georgia would be now if Justin Fields would have stayed. I'll tell you exactly where they'd be. They'd be where Florida is. Go into Atlanta, see if they can knock off Alabama. That's where Georgia would be. Here's a comment over the last 24 hours from Kirk Herbstreit.
This is about what happens in the conference championship games. If Ohio State's sitting there, if they go to Indianapolis and they win and they're 6-0 and they put on a Big Ten championship crown and they're Big Ten champs, I don't care if they played 5 games, 6 games. If they're crowned Big Ten champs, what happens in Charlotte, what happens in Atlanta is going to dictate where Ohio State is. If Alabama beats Florida, Ohio State would be in. Ohio State fans should be the biggest Alabama fans going because if Alabama knocks Florida out, I'm just telling you, if Alabama knocks Florida out, Ohio State is in the 4. If Florida beats Alabama and Clemson beats Notre Dame, Ohio State will be left out. It will be Clemson, Notre Dame, Florida, and Alabama. Ohio State's out. So Ohio State fans need to pull for Alabama and win out. And if they do that, I think they're one of the 4 teams.
Why? Why are they one of the 4 teams? Again, questions that won't be asked by friendly media, and they certainly won't be answered by people in college football, and certainly not in the Big Ten. Number 1, Big Ten, why did you initially put in a rule that said teams had to play at least 6 games to get in a conference championship game? Why? Why did you put that rule in? Because, see, if you answer that question, how are you going to answer the other question? Why are you taking it away for Ohio State? It's so simple. It really is. Chicken Hawk said he was glad to be Neil's lead-in on his phone call a while ago. We talked to Neil Price. If you missed that, we talked to Jonathan McMillan about the Oh Dear Big Buck Challenge, the Oh Dear BBC Big Buck Challenge that we're kicking off. If you take a big buck, harvest, that's the right word, harvest a big buck, you can take it to Jonathan and the folks up there at Divinity Equipment in Madison. You can have the deer scored. You will be entered in the competition. And at the end of the deer season, we're giving away prizes. Stuff like Yeti stuff and cool stuff from Divinity. We got a steak broiler from Cajun Fryers that you know one winner is going to get. We're going to have gift packages of country pleasing sausage. So anyway, make you aware of that. We also talked to Neil Price, Mississippi State's play-by-play announcer. He's doing basketball and football. He's doing them both this weekend, in fact. And if you missed all of that, don't worry. I'll get interviews and other stuff from the show posted on the podcast. So just go where you get podcasts on iTunes, anywhere you get a podcast, and search The Matt Wyatt Show, and you'll be able to get stuff on demand later. Or, like, for instance, if you haven't tried this and you listen to the radio, you'd like to go back or you miss it, you want to catch the whole show, I stream live this radio show all 3 hours. It goes out on Facebook. It goes out on my YouTube channel. It goes out on Twitter, Periscope. And when it's done, it's all there. So, like, if you want to listen to the whole show, just go there. Just go to Facebook, Radio Wyatt. Go to Twitter, Radio Wyatt. Go to the YouTube channel, and you'll be able to catch the whole thing. Let me go fast here, and then I'll come to Ryan real quick. Caleb says, I heard a story from that December 6th, 1941 game in San Francisco. The team was still there during the Pearl Harbor attack. Being on the West Coast, the players were frantically concerned the Japanese were headed there way next. You can only imagine what those guys went through. Yeah, and we were told yesterday, Caleb, that 41 team couldn't fly home, so they all got on a train, rode a train from San Francisco back to Mississippi. And even though that was tough, we were sure they were glad to get out of there. Unnamed texter said the game notes were wrong. The 64 Ole Miss game and the 01 BYU game were both in December. This is probably the latest regular season game in December, though. Yeah, that was the point. It wasn't just December games. It's the latest ones in December by the time you play on the 19th. Jason in Flagstaff said the eye test is exactly why South Carolina beat Georgia last year. Ohio State lost to Purdue a couple of years ago. That stuff happens every year. As the old saying goes, that's why we play the game. If they don't play, then it's nothing but a beauty pageant. Exactly. The stuff that actually happens must heavily outweigh things that could happen. Right? It's so simple. They throw out logic and any sort of pragmatic reasoning in order to stuff their pockets. This is all really simple. Walt says, love the idea of Southern Miss getting a playoff with a level playing field. I do too. You know, like Southern Miss is going, well, we need more money, need more revenue, we need more fans. You know how you do that? You play in a legit league that has an actual championship for you to chase against players and teams and programs like you. Instead of this farce that emanates from Indianapolis, Indiana, that says Southern Miss plays Division I football, So does Ohio State. Now go at it, boys. It's so stupid. The whole thing is so ridiculous. Somebody told me to set them straight. Boomer Sooner said, Matt, if you don't play the regular season, you should not be in the playoffs, period. The playoffs are for the teams that earn it during the regular season. Having the most talent does not mean you're the best team. Boomer Sooner, I agree. But you know who doesn't agree with you? Talking heads and wealthy folks at the head of the sport of college football. I don't care about that. Earn it, schmurn it. You aren't in the right conference. Cincinnati, you got no shot. Coastal Carolina. Well, but hold on. Our team that was really good in baseball won the national title. Yeah, but that's baseball. They do things fairly over there. This ain't baseball. You're out. Coastal Carolina, Boise State, UCF, y'all can go 24-0. 36-0. We don't care. You're not getting in. It's not for you. But wait a minute. We're Division I scholarship like y'all. Yeah, no. You're not Power 5. You're not the Power 4. You can get in the Pac-12. We still wouldn't let you in. Why not? Well, it might change things. Teams like UCF and Cincinnati and Coastal Carolina start getting in. Oh, boy, that changes recruiting for Clemson and Florida and Ohio State. And we can't have that. Ryan on the Davini Equipment phone line, Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson. Thanks for calling, Ryan. What's up?
Yeah, I agree with you too. That's a bunch of that's real shady with what they're doing with Ohio State. It just makes a sick stomach, sick feeling in my stomach. If I were the college football playoff committee, I'd just if I wanted to actually seem fair, I wouldn't let them in.
Yeah, if you were the committee. Well, and see, that's the thing about it, Ryan, is, again, we're doing a lot of assuming, if we're assuming that Ohio State goes and beats Northwestern in the conference title game, okay, well, they probably are. They'd be sitting there at 6-0. And again, we are assuming that the playoff committee puts them in. But you know what? They're going to put them in, because anybody who's being honest just basically comes out and says it's about money. And Ryan, listen, and I'll get to your point. I know you're going to talk basketball, but to make my point, this is Cardale Jones, former Ohio State quarterback, on an ESPN interview yesterday and last night talking about this. Listen to what he says.
When I think about the college football playoff, man, I think about the top dogs. I think about the best teams. And I think about who's going to be the biggest draw, who's going to bring in the most amount of money. Ohio State is definitely in that conversation. It's going to suck to see that they only potentially get in with 5 games over a potential one-loss Indiana team or things like that. But at this point, man, it's all about trying to recoup some of that money the Big Ten and college football has lost.
Recoup money that the Big Ten and college football has lost. This is Cardale Jones, who played at Ohio State. He's telling you why they're putting them in. Money. So basically, this is what it boils down to, Ryan. You and I, as fans of the sport of college football, we have one of 3 choices. A, we leave and we never come back. It's not a boycott. We just quit. It's like, it's like having a job with a bad boss. You just walk out one day and you don't come back. 2, we can not like it and just keep on keeping on. Or 3, we can totally get on board with it. Just totally get on board with the idea that the sport of college football is about one thing and one thing only, is how can the biggest and wealthiest get bigger and wealthier. That's our 3 choices right there.
Yeah.
All right, so you called me about basketball. Did you go to the game last night?
Mm-hmm. No, I didn't get to go to the game last night. I would have loved to have gone to start real, but I was watching it on TV, and then I came out to jog, and I just want to say Bill Price has done a very good job as the play-by-play guy for State.
Yeah.
I mean, I love, as a guy who grew up listening to Jack Crystal a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like hearing him too on there. I really love it. State made a good choice. I mean, not State, but Learfield Sports made a good choice.
Yeah, I agree, and I'll pass that along to him. And you're right. I hope State fans understand how good they have it that Neil Price is calling their games. If you don't believe me, get on the internet and go around and listen to some of the other broadcasts around, college sports. Not everybody has not everybody has somebody that can do the job as well as Neil can. So we're pretty fortunate for sure.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for the call, Ryan. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Call me anytime. Anthony from Tupelo, Country Please and text line 885-ESPN or 885-3776 says the eye test these people refer to is based on some recruiting rankings done by sports journalists. In my opinion, the group of five should have their own championship. I totally agree. And then he goes on to say playoff games would be more interesting than the GoDaddy.com Bowl. Well, see, and that's the thing. It would be best for GoDaddy also, the sponsor of the bowl. They're going to have more people interested in the game. They're going to have more of those fan bases in the group of five actually, I think, invested to a degree. To go. You're going to have more people watching them. Here's a question for you and for everyone listening to this show. Think about these two scenarios. Let's say Southern Miss from Conference USA plays ULL in the New Orleans Bowl on December the 23rd, whenever it is. Okay, that's the last game of the year. One's a 7-win team, the other one's a 8-win team, something like that. Well, we've seen that a million times, right? Sure you have. Now, here's the other scenario. Southern Miss and ULL are playing each other in the first round of the Group of Five playoff in the New Orleans Bowl on December the 19th. And the winner advances to go face somebody, at a bowl game in, I don't know, or a game that they host or a game in Memphis or something, and ultimately they're going to play the Group of Five national championship game in January, and it's going to be played in the Superdome the week after the Sugar Bowl or something. And both those teams could actually win their way into that. Which game are you most interested in watching? It ain't even close. Which game is GoDaddy.com more interested in sponsoring? It ain't even close. Which game does the Southern Miss fan have more interest in buying a ticket and attending? It's not close. So what's the holdup? I'm telling you, it's a twofold reason that a lot of the same teams that stay where they are bunched real tightly in the top of the sport. Okay, it's a twofold reason. Okay, is not only does the current system benefit them, but another system might benefit somebody else. Think about it. If Coastal Carolina were in the college football playoff, would Clemson be okay with that and it give Coastal Carolina an opportunity to begin to recruit players and tell them, we can go to the playoff at Coastal Carolina? Of course, Clemson does not like that. Well, Matt, Coastal Carolina won a national championship in baseball. Clemson doesn't care who they sign on their baseball team. But you can bet they care who they sign on their football team. UCF. You ain't ever getting in UCF. You can go 36-0. We don't care. You're not getting in. One of the reasons? We put you in the playoff. Might make it a little harder on Florida to recruit. Miami. All of a sudden, these kids start thinking, heck, man, I'm 5 stars. I can go to Florida and compete for a job with 2 other 5 stars, or I can go to UCF and play next year guaranteed, and we might have a chance to go to playoff. Oh, boy, we can't have that. We cannot have that. Why? It might throw a wrench in the cash flow. Go look and see who is most against name, image, and likeness. That opens up the ability for, boosters of any school to sign a marketing relationship with their players. Make sure they get some money. You know who's most against it? The big boys. They like it the way it is right now. Heck, they're the ones who can afford it the most. All right, Matt, hanging on the phone. I got like a minute or 2 here, Matt. Thanks for calling. What's up?
How's it going, Matt?
Hey, man.
Hey, got a question for you on this. I guess it's your rant or soapbox that you're on or whatever it is.
Matt, I am so sorry. I came to you late enough that the music just started, and it's going to cut you off. Would you mind holding on so we can get your full call in? Yeah. Sure. Apologies for that. Hang tight. My rant or my soapbox went a little too long on there, and I'm going to cut you off. I don't want to do that. So we'll come straight to you, Matt, on the other side of the break. Nails, we will come to you as well. Mansplain on the text line says, I need to get a Snickers and cool off. I'm a little too wound up. I need to get away? Is that what you're saying? All right. Y'all stick around. Trust me on this, you will sleep better on a mattress from Nest and Wild. It's 100% American made, from top to bottom, all the way to the floor. It's a great Mississippi company. It's right here at home. I know the people. Every mattress they make is 12 inches thick, and if you order it, it'll show up in your doorstep in 5 days. So if you're like me and sometimes you procrastinate on Christmas gifts, you can wait right up until the last minute. All right, I'm not suggesting that, but you could do it. And if you use Bully20, BULLY20, you also get a free pillow top mattress cover to go with it. So it's a great deal. Use that code. Go to nestandwild.com, order your mattress, get it here in time for Christmas. Winsipedia.com. Winsipedia.com. Wins, the letter I, pedia.com. Winsipedia.com. If you're a football fan, if you keep up with games, you have a favorite team who's playing somebody new this weekend, certainly if you're a person that's in media, like me, you're in radio or maybe you write, this is an incredible website that's a resource for any historical matchup. You can compare any 2 teams, just put them in there, no matter who they are in Division I football. It'll give you the entire series history. It'll give it to you visually in a graph. You can click on individual matchups. You can look at the whole list. You can even get information, historical information on just one team, but Winsipedia, it's a great historical matchup resource for college football. Check it out.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. If you head with me over to cspire.com, over to their website, this is something you can do. And I noticed this today before I went and logged in. I was going to pay my bill. And it says at the top, deals you can believe in. You click that shop deals, and it takes you over here to a couple of things that you need to know about here for the holiday season. First of all, they're doing a trade-in right now. So like I can take my old iPhone 8 Plus and trade this in for an iPhone 12. The other thing is, I wanted to show you this. First of all, I love the ad with the bull and the Santa hat, but the no bull deal, you probably heard about that on our show. No gotchas and hidden in the fine print in the bill. no most expensive plan requirements, no waiting 3 months to get your promo credit, no having to, bring a phone number with you, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you from experience, I go here, my bill's the same every month. There's not a lot of hidden stuff. My cost doesn't go up. Once I'm in. I know what it costs every month. You get all of that stuff. And I just wanted to make you aware. Just go to cspire.com. You can see all of it. Merry Christmas.
ESPN.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right, let's do it. Matt, thanks for hanging on and being as patient as you have been. I really do appreciate that. On the Davini Equipment phone line, Matt, you have the floor. Go right ahead.
Hey, first of all, you're right about Will Hall. Is a great hire at USM. Mm-hmm. Apparently his father has changed his tune a little bit with age. Originally, he did not like USM. Anyway, on more to your rant or your question, if the Power 4 or 5 were to split off and create their own league, wouldn't it still be the same thing where the power schools, the Alabamas, Ohio States, Clemson, schools of that nature would still win their whatever, the title will say.
Yeah.
And the smaller schools within the Power 5s, the states, Ole Miss, Missouri, Arkansas, they may win once in a while, but I don't think they would win on a consistent basis to
yeah, who let the dogs out, Matt?
to really other than the money that they're getting, I don't know if it would be any more value, any more being more competitive. I can't talk.
Yeah, competitive. Yeah, right.
And also, in the same note, right now these Power 5 schools have, or conferences have, schools that are high academics to keep their GPA up as a conference. Would they be required to keep those schools?
Mm-hmm.
What's your thought on those?
Yeah, that's two really great points. Matt, on the first one, you're right. As long as what I said earlier, I did kind of intentionally throw this caveat in there when I said, the Power 4, Power 5, let them have their own thing, the autonomous 64, whatever it equates to. But and just be above board with all of it and say, okay, everybody can go out here and pay recruits. Everybody. Name, image, and likeness may open the door to that if it all comes full circle, right? Because then nobody's got any excuse. Well, we were going to sign so-and-so 5-star, but LSU came in here and loaded him up, moved his family to Baton Rouge, so he went there. Okay, well, now you can do it too if you want to. There's a way around that. Go ahead. You want him bad enough? Fork it up. Because if that's what's going on now, just let everybody do it. And if you go up there and you become autonomous and you're not necessarily paying them salaries, but you've opened the door to that way they can earn on their name, image, and likeness, maybe that actually levels that playing field a little bit, and everybody runs out of excuses. Right now you have the excuse of those big bad 10 teams on the other side of the Grand Canyon over there, the NCAA ain't touching them. They can recruit however they want to. Over here, if I go 95 and a 65, they put me under the jail. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's my thought on it, and it's pretty cynical. The other thing you were talking about with what was your second point? The group of 5?
But the right now the big power conferences have teams such as the Vanderbilts and things that have high GPAs to keep their conference GPA up. Would they be required? Would they be required as well to keep these teams? Since basically those guys are non-competitive in these Power 4 or 5 conferences.
In the sports that make money, right? Like
in football, correct? Yeah, sure. In football, that's what I assume we're talking about.
That's right.
The big money.
Yeah, the big money sport. That's a great point too. That's kind of what they are, right? They're GPA schools. Right. Northwestern.
Right.
I don't know.
Vanderbilt.
Obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. But it to me, it just the I don't know if creating Power 4 or 5, creating their own conference, necessarily would benefit all of the schools within these conferences, because even though you say SEC schools still get all of them get $40 million or $40-something million from the conference every year, and you look at their budgets, there's a lot of them that is their budget, or not much more.
You're exactly
right.
And
you got schools such as Alabama that's got $120 million, LSU somewhere around there, and Ohio State's around $150 million. So they still would be able to pay their players more money than we would still be having this problem where all the big schools get the 5-star recruits because they're able to pay them, and the smaller power schools will say can't pay them that much. So we're still over the same thing, fighting over 3, 4, and 5 or 3, 4 star recruits, as opposed to the big schools that get the 5-star recruits because they're able to pay them and bring their family in and give them stuff.
And Matt, you're right, but I think what I was saying is, honestly, when you look at like State and Ole Miss, they want to go wherever the SEC goes because for the reason you just stated. I mean, the conference revenue share and the exposure, the ability to recruit because you're in that conference goes along with it. They're on the bottom looking up at Alabama and Tennessee in terms of their athletic budgets and that kind of thing, but they're happy to be there, right? So, breaking away is not, it doesn't necessarily all of a sudden just level the playing field for everybody. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying not a whole lot's going to change for a lot of those schools. Sure, that's right. But a lot of them are happy with the way it is. Pretty much all of them are happy with the way it is. Vanderbilt is happy with the way it is. Give us the check. But what I'm saying is by doing that, I think it brings some honesty back to it that the fans would appreciate and we'd all kind of get back in on a little bit, and then you'd have something fair and above board for all these thousands of college athletes in the group of 5 who you're saying to, the defensive tackle who's playing at Louisiana Lafayette, who's worked his tail off and built himself into an NFL prospect, and you're telling him, hey, your college team is competing for the same trophy that Clemson is. Well, that's a joke.
Right.
It's an absolute farce. Give him an actual trophy to chase against their type of schools where he can play on the biggest stage and go earn something in those 5 years of his career. You're going to have tens of thousands of those guys who they get to be 45, 50, 60 years old, look back on their college career. They're glad they did it, but they're going to look back and go, you know what? There was nothing to play for.
Right.
Other than the New Orleans Bowl. Well, that's just a joke. It's an absolute joke. Matt, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you.
Right.
Nails, as in nailing, hammering that nail on the Davini Equipment phone. What's up, Nails?
What's going on?
Yo.
Well, I almost got sidetracked on that last call. It was a little lengthy, but I'll speed it up.
Okay.
I think every student should be an employee. I think you should pay every student. Make them a state employee, give them benefits, give them insurance, and their 4 or 5 years they're in college can count towards their retirement as a state employee if they happen to go into a state service job after football or basketball, golf, whatever. Make every student an employee. Tax their income. Give them rules to follow that are prosecutable by law, just like a state employee would be. Make them an employee, and then you can set rules where you can't have improper benefits. You are getting paid, and yes, you can pay quarterback just like in any government job. the quarterback can get paid more than the lineman or whatever. But you have it to have a set up to where if you're a college athlete, you are an employee of the school or state, however it is, private or public.
Well,
you are a paid employee.
And you know what I was thinking as you said that, Nails? And then what I would do is if I had a child who was not an athlete, absolutely I would be encouraging them to go to school to be an accountant. And while you're in school, in accounting school, you, number one, earn money on the side doing taxes for all these athletes, let them pay you for that service, and then learn how to start your own accounting business. And while you're in school, you make friends and relationships with every one of those college football players. And when you graduate, you form an LLC or whatever the heck it is and start your own accounting firm, and you become an accountant for college athletes. And we would have not only instead of you know what we would have, Nails? Instead of Jimmy Sexton, the wealthiest, most powerful agent in America, we'd have Jimmy Sexton, the accountant, who's the most powerful and wealthy accountant in America, because every one of those players who are getting paid are going to have their taxes done.
Yeah, and then the last thing I got about the playoffs and stuff, and I even said this about basketball, but I know everybody will disagree with me about basketball. But with football, I don't agree with the different trophy levels. If you won football, then you should have one goal. You won. Like in baseball, the Kansas City Royals with a low budget are paying for the same trophy the New York Yankees are. Mm-hmm. It ain't the Yankees' fault that they get to spend more money. Well, that's America. You want to spend more money, find a way to make more money. Mm-hmm. My thing is you should say however many D1 conferences there are, I'm not even sure, but only the conference champions should be allowed to play in the playoffs. If you don't win your conference championship, you should not be considered to be a national champion. You can't win your own conference, you can't be a national champion.
I agree.
That's all I got.
I agree, Nails. Incentivize the regular season across all of college football. Make it conference champions. You could expand the playoff and include other conferences then if you wanted to. You could definitely do that. It would make a lot of sense. Problem is, it might spread the money around. Some people don't want that. When we come back, I'm going to unbox this from the Mississippi State University golf course. I'm going to see what they sent me in the mail. Plus your texts. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding. Whether you cook it over a fire or in the house, cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me. Hey, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. If you head with me over to cspire.com, over to their website, this is something you can do. And I noticed this today before I went and logged in. I was going to pay my bill, and it says at the top, deals you can believe in. You click that shop deals, and it takes you over here to a couple of things that you need to know about here for the holiday season. First of all, they're doing a trade-in right now. So like I can take my old iPhone 8 Plus and trade this in for an iPhone 12. The other thing is I wanted to show you this. First of all, I love the ad with the bull and the Santa hat, but the no bull deal, you probably heard about that on our show. No gotchas and hidden in the fine print in the bill. No most expensive plan requirements. No waiting 3 months to get your promo credit. No having to, bring a phone number with you, all that kind of stuff. I can tell you from experience, I go here, my bill's the same every month. There's not a lot of hidden stuff. My cost doesn't go up. Once I'm in. I know what it costs every month. You get all of that stuff. And I just wanted to make you aware. Just go to cspire.com. You can see all of it. Merry Christmas.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
You hear me say Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson a lot on the radio show. Highway 51 in Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson. And yeah, it's tractors, okay? Kubota tractors, they have New Holland tractors, big equipment, skid steers, ATVs, all that. But you need to know this time of year, if you're a deer hunter, if you know a deer hunter in the area, anywhere around Madison and Jackson, Davini has everything, okay? I'm not talking about just, feeders and all the stuff that goes with that, but tree stands, climbing stands, chairs, camo this, camo that, boots, accessories, everything for the hunter. Davini Equipment, Highway 51 Madison, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I've been accused of wearing a lot of hats in my career. And if you go to the Mississippi State University golf course, you can wear a lot of hats.
On ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
Back with y'all. Let's see what they sent me. I got a box in the mail from the Mississippi State University golf course. If you're watching the live stream right now, see this pullover I've got on? It's got the state baseball logo on the chest there, zip up long sleeve. Got this a while back. Love it. I've worn it so much till I've kind of torn it and everything. But anyway, that's where it came from. If you're watching the live stream. If y'all have never checked out the live stream, you can do it. You could follow me on Twitter. You'd see the link go out every day at the start of the show for the live stream on Periscope. It also goes, and we stream it live on Facebook, facebook.com/Radio Wyatt. It goes to my YouTube channel. Just look for me, Matt Wyatt, on YouTube. You'll see it right there. But I got something here, and I got the Christmas tree here in the studio. Again, those that are watching online can see that. So this kind of feels like Christmas morning. Like, you get something in the mail. You don't know what it is yet. I don't know what it is yet. I just know it came from a cool place, the Mississippi State University golf course. There's even a personalized note. How about this? From my man Tim and Adam over there. If y'all want to get some state stuff, they really have the best stuff. Apparel, hats, and everything. It's at Hail State GC on Twitter. Just hit them up right there. Call them 325-3028. Call them, tell them what you're interested in, ask questions. What do we have here? Sweet! Check it out. 2 things in the box. First of all, a money clip. It's a Mississippi State Bulldogs baseball money clip with the baseball logo. Y'all can see that. You see that on the live stream? There it is. Look at that money clip with the M/S. Now I got to go get some money so I can use my money clip. And then I've got here a gray, this is great, a gray pullover, long sleeve pullover for the winter that has the Mississippi State helmet logo on the front of it. I'm probably wear that to the game this weekend. Oh, and it says SEC over there on the other side, on the sleeve. How about that? So thank you very much. Like Christmas morning. It's like a birthday present because tomorrow's my birthday. So it's a birthday present from the Mississippi State University Golf Course at Hale State GC. Thank you, boys. Thank you very much. All right, country please and text line. 885-ESPN. Churro sends me a picture. He says, this is my office view. It is directly looking across Highway 49 in Florence. And right over there on the other side is Country Meat Packers and the Big Red Hog. Thank you very much. The homecoming queen brought me a Diet Dr. Pepper. Thank you. I've been drinking High Point Roasters coffee all day long during the show. Yeah, I've seen that. Now I got Coke. But anyway, there's Country Meat Packers right across the street. And he says, every time there's an east wind, I have to suffer through the beautiful smell of smoked meats. There's no secret as to why I'm overweight, he says. Well, there ain't but about a couple of ways to get a name like Churro. Dennis, formerly of Omaha, says, Matt, your short film on YouTube documenting the stories and professional lives of the 3 major university sports announcers was fascinating and informative. I highly recommend it to your listeners. Thank you, Dennis. That was from a couple of years ago. And at that time, I think it might have been 2018. I think it was like spring of 2018 is when David Kellum, Jim Ellis, and John Cox at Ole Miss State and Southern, respectively, were all in their 40th years of broadcasting. Now they're all up to like 42 or 43 or whatever it is. But their career, these play-by-play announcers for the baseball teams at all 3 schools, State, Ole Miss, and Southern, their careers have been running concurrently. They all started at the same time, 42, 43 years ago. It's really, really cool. Thank you. And so Dennis, I appreciate you saying that. Y'all can go and look it up on my YouTube channel. It's on a playlist right there. It's called 40 Years in Baseball. You can also go to my website, which is mattwyattmedia.com. Just go to mattwyattmedia.com and look up on the video tab right there, and you're going to see that, the 40 Years in Baseball. Thanks for bringing that up. Bill, early birthday to you. If I don't talk to you in about a week, about this time next week, Bill will be getting ready to celebrate a birthday. And I really do appreciate you, Bill, filling in. It looks like we may get JB back tomorrow, but really do appreciate Bill. Chicken Hawk hanging on the Divinity Equipment phone. What's up, Mr. Hawk?
Yeah, happy birthday there, Cowboy Bill. Listen, talking about all this here, Jesus, you're a preacher's son, plus you my brother in the Lord and all that. So what was the 2 most things that Jesus talked about and taught about while he was in the flesh here at them 33 and a half years before he went, before he was resurrected? What was the 2 most things he warned us about?
Okay, the 2 things he warned the most about?
Yeah, you talked about, preached about, whatever, the 2 most things.
Okay, well, give them to me. What are they?
All right, well, one is hell, and the other is money. He talked about that more than anything, those 2 things. And here's the deal. The same thing that is wrong right now, see if you agree, what's wrong with politics, whether it be local, state, or national, you see what we're going through right now. Mm-hmm. All right, and the same thing what's going on in the Power 4.5. I'm going to call them the Power 4.5. All right, look.
Uh-oh, did we lose Chicken Hawk? Somebody step
up. Hold on, no.
Okay,
whoa,
he's back.
Whoa.
He's back.
My breath.
We lost him then. Somebody cut him off. Somebody standing on the cord, Chicken Hawk. If Chicken Hawk's standing on the cord, then I understand why the call went out. Call us back, Chicken Hawk. We'll try it if we have time. All right, let's see here. Anthony from Tupelo. I agree with you. I gave you 2 scenarios, and you would definitely choose the one. Anthony says he would. The one where postseason games, if a group of 5 teams were involved in their own playoff, You would much more be invested in that, for sure. JM says, Matt, you're 1,000% right. I can prove it. If it was about the game of football and the student athlete, Bama and Florida would not be playing a meaningless game Saturday and would be resting up, preparing for the SEC championship. Nope. League wants the TV money from Bama and Florida, period. He's back. Chicken Hawk, you got the floor, Mr. Hawk. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
I got my phone in the pocket. Well, here's the deal. It ain't, money is not evil within itself. Jesus said the love of money is the root of all evil. So all of this stuff is like you've been saying. It goes back to the love and greed. That's what's wrong with the whole world right now. But like now, when I played, I graduated in 78. All right, my scholarship, I had everything paid for. Books, food, room. I didn't care about, and I don't know how much that people got paid. I mean, they got paid some then, not to the drastic measures that they do now. But I was just tickled to death that I got a full ride. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
But money is, just you think about it, like you've been saying all day. And I always say, follow the money. It's all about money, brother, and it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah. No, you're right about that, Chicken Hawk. You're definitely right. And money is a lot like, selfishness. And a lot of times those two things go hand in hand,
Yeah. Oh,
and,
yeah.
And selfishness ruins everything every time. And
pride.
And well, pride, throw that in there, But I think what you do have is, I guess basically what it is hard for me, Chicken Hawk, to remove this idea in my head that is kind of the competitor's perspective of, hey, it's an open playing field, man. And if I outwork the other guy and if we do well and this, and you can just go out and earn what you want to earn. It may be that way in real life. It kind of is that way in real life. But it's hard. It's hard for me to admit that it's really not that way in college football. It's really not that way in college football.
Well, it's an uneven playing field. There ain't no doubt about that.
Sure. Yeah, that's
way uneven. But anyway, I'm gonna let you go, and you need to stay off of them diet. What you think of Diet Dr. Pepper?
Well, this is Diet Dr. Pepper. I don't have very many, but maybe a couple of them a week. And Annabeth just brought me one. She must be. She's getting ready for my birthday tomorrow. She's already bringing gifts.
Oh, I didn't know. Your birthday's tomorrow?
Sure is. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll see if I can't take off and fly up there.
Hey,
hey, I'll bring some deer meat, and I'll go by Henry's, and I'll get some fresh cut prime, about a 2-inch thick steak and a 1-inch pork chop, and get some of that country pleasing sausage.
Yes.
And we'll just have we'll have a throwdown.
We'll build a fire somewhere and cook it and eat it. Chicken Hawk, thank you.
Cheap.
That's what I'm talking about. Just build a fire and get out of the way. We'll figure out a way to cook it and eat it. All right, enjoy the show, y'all. If you texted and I was unable to get to it, apologies on that. But we had a full day, as you can imagine. And hallelujah, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. We will do it again tomorrow. Same time, same place. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau studio. Bill, thank you so much. Great job. See y'all.
See ya.